Okay, welcome to the stream. We have a pretty fun one here, or it should be at least. So let's just, oh, it looks like we got some last minute signups for the tournament, so I'll let that go through, and then we can start the tournament. But it should be a lot of fun. Okay, I'll just do a last call, just to check here. Because I want to make sure as many people as possible can join in. Thank you, Horror Planet, for the strength, sending the strength to us. This should be a pretty fun, strong stream here. And yeah, it looks like I think people are starting to check the bracket. So let's just start. Okay, then I'll start. Oh, DK0 is a mod here, so actually, yeah, we're one off from the 16. But yeah, let's just start. Oh wait, Aratos might join. Isn't yet final. Sorry for the delay, folks. It looks like Aratos might join. Let's just check here. Because if Aratos joined, then that would be great. Because that way, yep, there we go. Okay, so this will be the last person. Yeah, so this brings us to 16, so I figured that's pretty good. So after Aratos joins, we'll start. Okay, perfect. And we're starting the locals tournament. Would be kind of bad if we started the regular one. Let's shuffle. Okay, it was shuffled, and let's go. Okay, bracket is up. Not Alminias. Have I tested my manga in this? Not yet, but if it shows promise, I might. Figure that could be an interesting tech card there. But I don't know. What do you all think about my manga in the comments? It's kind of an interesting one. But yeah. I'm just gonna say, remember, even though we're using Retrobot, since this is howdy Cole, welcome to the stream. If matches will default to unrated. If you do want a rated match, ask your opponent beforehand. Okay, there we go. But we should be pretty good. So I'm just going to blow my nose real quick. Hopefully this won't be too gross on stream, but having a bit of a runny nose. I think it's a bit of allergies. But that happens. Nah, Cole, even if you're playing a bad deck, it'll still be fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing the deck that you play. And let's just dive into the duel rooms there. Let's see. We've got... Okay, so it looks like we've got people starting. So let's just dive in here. Yep, there's Soul, there's Dump Truck, and Rain Dance. Looks like we got someone waiting for Clody here. So, yeah. Let's just see if we can find anyone. Oh, we can filter. I was told this the other day, so we can actually do that. Oh, I should also probably pull up the bracket. I don't usually run these locals through the Retrobot. Retrobot's very useful for these sorts of things, but we normally play in like some very strange formats. So hopefully the Retrobot will make things run a bit more smoothly. But yeah, we got the whole thing up here, and yeah, it should be fun. So, looks like we're seeing Soul versus Cole. So, rhyming names here. Playing some good old-fashioned Yata. If you haven't seen this format in action before, it is a really cool format. It's just like a lot of very powerful cards, but in a way that, does reward skill. So, for instance, as opposed to something like Joey Pixis, Graceful Charity, 1 copy, not 2. That really does help quite a bit, in my opinion. And there are just other things like that where I do think it's actually a relatively balanced format despite the power cards in it. So, I need to actually join the general chat for voice. That's what I always do here in case anyone wants to, sort of hop in and commentate as well. But yeah, it should be pretty fun. Looks like we got a Gravekeeper matchup here with Royal Tribute. So, that's kind of interesting. Gravekeepers is a deck that a lot of people have been experimenting with. But I don't know how good it actually is. Like, I featured it in some of my videos, most recently in the hand control video I did earlier today, and also in the sort of first steps video that I made the other day. And both those times, Gravekeepers did lose the match, but I feel like the deck might have some potential. We'll just have to see how it goes. But it looks like Soul's just going to set a whole bunch and just pass back to Cole. So they must not be afraid of like Harpy's Feather Duster, which does see some play in this format. Hello, Allison Gomez. Welcome to the stream. I remember you from last week. And yeah, I hope this one is just as enjoyable for you. Very different from LOB format for sure. But it should be good. What's up? I'm just vibing, enjoying the Yata stream. I've just started sort of exploring this format because we do have a tournament coming up tomorrow. And if you do want to join that, head on over to the Discord server. Link is in the description of this stream. So there's still time to sign up for that. Unfortunately, not any time left to sign up for the rest of locals, but it should be a lot of fun. And Yata is a format with a lot of depth, so it'll be cool to see. We see a flipped up Gravekeeper's Guard here, which is a pretty good start from Soul. They just get to bounce back the opponent's monster, poke in. They might have a book set, so they can do it again next turn, which would be pretty great. So yeah, there's a lot of very interesting things you can do with the Gravekeeper's deck. Let's see what Cole's do. We don't know what Cole's on. That's an interesting thing about this. Okay, perfect. You like Yata format. Yeah, I've really enjoyed what I've explored of it so far. I think it's really cool. I know that like hand control's the best deck, but I do feel like there are some contenders. So it's not like tier 0. And even like hand control being the best deck, I do think it's like a fun version of hand control where it does feel like there's counterplay. You're not like getting your entire hand destroyed with no sort of back and forth. I really do think there are things you can do to generally stop those sorts of turns. So yeah, I think it's a very interesting format, and I'm excited to explore more in the future as well. Hopefully this locals will give me sort of new ideas for decks to play. Like I'm planning on playing Gravekeepers in the future because I've seen a lot of people doing that, and yeah, it should be fun. 2002 to 2004 is my favorite period in TCG. Yeah, I've been really enjoying it so far. I did grow up around this time, like playing Yu-Gi-Oh, but I'd never played like competitively around that time. And it's just a very different vibe from like the playground Yu-Gi-Oh. And yeah, I've been really enjoying the exploration of it so far. I think there's a lot of very interesting formats, and I think it's a shame that people don't give these formats a chance. I feel like DM has like a really bad sort of reputation, and it's undeserved. Yeah, I also think that like not having a ban list is pretty neat. Oh, we got the Gravekeeper mirror match here. Oh, this is going to be very interesting here. So Necro Valley does come down, and that turns on both players' decks. So very, very neat. But yeah, I honestly like these formats that don't have a ban list. I feel like it's before the point where that becomes a super big problem. And oh, it looks like a Raigeki break's going to pop that Necro Valley. Just preventing Cole from potentially, I don't know, firing a Royal Tribute maybe? Maybe that would be the reason why you do that. But yeah, it definitely feels like OG Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I definitely remember, like, I didn't play competitively, but I did, like, play with friends at the time. And it was just, like, this is my childhood, really. And I remember, like, reading, like, old Pojo magazines about, people playing these powerful cards and stuff. And it was just always super fun. So I enjoy it. And it looks like that Book of Moon is going to be fired on the guard, returning the hand the first set there. And yeah, I mean, this isn't a bad position for Soul here, but they're running out of cards, and Cole does have the aggressive pressure. There are many ways that Soul can turn this around, though. Another set might do it. I mean, that could be a Gravekeeper's Spy to bring out more Gravekeepers, just sort of swarm the field. There are a lot of things that this could be, and we do know that the IO is gone. So, you know, if Cole does have something like a Raigeki. I mixed it up with Raigeki Break. But yeah, Book is an interesting tech in this format. Like, I feel like a lot of people aren't playing Book, but I do think that it has a lot of utility. And I do feel like exploration of other retro formats like GOAT, Edison, etc. has really shown that like Book is one of the most versatile cards in the game. So I hope that people will experiment with it more in this format. I haven't really tested it out too deeply yet, because like I've noticed in the past that, you know, when I do make a bunch of videos on like the sort of good stuff deck, or just, you know, one particular type of deck with some minor changes, it generally gets people like tired out on a given format. So, you know, I probably won't be testing out too much of the books in at least, you know, a good stuff deck. But, you know, I do plan on looking at it in the future. So yes, yeah, Gravekeeper Mirror. Only in this sort of locals will this sort of thing happen. So very cool to see. We see some set back row here as well. Yeah, share if you play. Share this locals if you play, by the way. You know, the more people who see it, the more fun commentary we can have in the chat. And also the more we can hopefully grow these formats in the future. This locals actually has 16 people in it, which I believe makes it the biggest locals that we've actually held so far. So very cool to see in that regard. I think I got pinged on the Discord, so I'm just going to check to see if that's anything related to the locals tournament here. But oh, it looks like not quite sure what I got pinged over, but yeah. But I mean, a lot of set monsters here, a lot of defensive monsters here. So very interesting to see. But yeah, Gravekeepers and GOAT is very interesting. I feel like it's much less powerful than it could be in other formats. I mean, of course, you know, Gravekeepers get support later on, but I feel like in these early DM era formats, you know, I feel like they could potentially put up a fight against other decks. So I'm excited to try them out in Yata. Yeah, I think that they could definitely be good in 2003 and 2004 formats. Cole's just like, you know, you don't have Raigeki. You're not going to use it. They might also just have an IO set, but that's a little bit risky into like an MST. This is a risky play into like Torrential as well. But a lot of set monsters here. Oh, it looks like a guard is getting flipped up, returning that monster to hand. Makes sense. You don't want to potentially, you know, flip up a spy. And I'm curious to see. Oh, wow. Okay, that explains it. That explains why there's so many monsters on field. That is incredible. Wow. Yeah, Solemn coming down. I mean, you kind of have to Solemn that. That's just such a big swing on Cole's part. But that does put Soul in a bit of a tough position here, honestly. If Cole does have just ways to deal with this guard and get him for damage. Oh, looks like they don't. Okay. But wow, what a play. That was awesome. And here is the Dark Hole. You just got to hope that those sets are like, you know, Witch and Sangan, or else Cole's in a tough spot. Oh, that hurts. That really hurts to see. I mean, I do think that Cole did make the correct play here. As not many people are playing Solemn in these formats. So, like, you know, you don't really play around cards that people aren't playing. And if you did actually successfully resolve the Morphing Jar, then you were in a really good spot. So I think it does make sense for Cole to do that, but now they're in a really, really rough position. I mean, there are things that do get them out of this, don't get me wrong. But yeah, it's very tricky. A lot of decks in this format are also playing a very low monster count, which means that losing that many monsters can be really bad here. Painful Choice could help them get out of it, though. And that's one of the reasons why I like Painful Choice in these formats. There's just so many things that it can do. Oh, but this is kind of rough into the Spear Soldier here. Cole sending a Serpent, a Terraforming. And I mean, no matter what else you get, it's kind of rough because, like, there's no real reason for Soul not to give you the Serpent. You're going to get that back anyways, unless Soul's playing Kaiku. And in a Gravekeeper's deck, you don't really want to be playing Kaiku. So, yeah, it's kind of an awkward spot. If Cole does get back the Serpent, then Soul can just hit over it every turn with this Spear Soldier, which would obviously be very bad. Cole would just start bleeding life points. So, yeah, it's a very iffy situation. Now, if Cole has something like Raigeki Break in the back row, that makes it very, very good. And that is definitely a possibility. I mean, we saw Raigeki Break out of Soul here as well. But But yeah, it's very tricky. And they're also going to send a Necro Valley. I think that these make sense. Cole might, or Soul might also give Cole a Royal Tribute because it doesn't really do anything here. But yeah, they're just going to give him the Serpent. I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense here. So Serpent will get added to hand. And we're going to see some, Necro Valleys, Royal Tributes, etc. get sent to grave. It looks like, so Cole's gone through 2 Necro Valleys. They might not actually have a third left in deck, which is actually kind of interesting and puts Gravekeepers in a bit of a tough spot. Yeah, you just got to set the Serpent here if you don't have like a Raigeki break or something. But yeah, this is really rough. I honestly, I'm not sure what I'd do if I was Cole. Like, it's very, very tricky. And that's honestly like a reason why some people don't play Painful in some decks in this format. Because like, if you're in this sort of losing position and you just need to get 5 cards, there's a lot less graveyard setup in this format. And there are some things you can do to set it up, but like, you could just have a really painful. You are deck thinning though, and that could come up. Like Cole obviously did not want to draw necessarily like Royal Tribute or Terraforming or Necro Valley, because it doesn't really do anything on this board. But it is still a bit iffy, and it's a really bad spot for Cole to be in. So we'll have to see what happens here. Soul's going to set another pass back to Cole. If that's a spy, then they could potentially just win next turn, and that is very, very risky. Just an insane game here. Very much out of the ordinary for what you'd get from a locals in this format, given that like this format generally is not as Gravekeeper focused. A lot of people play hand control and stuff, but I'm glad that we get to show this off. Like, I predict that the like top round of the tournament will probably have a fair amount of hand control in it. So it's cool that we get to see 2 like off meta decks in the meantime. So this Gravekeeper Spy is going to pull out another monster from deck, and that might just be the end of the game. Let's see. It's 1250 off the Spear Soldier. Dropping Cole down to 2,700. Yeah, if they get out a 1,500 attack point monster and Cole does not have a way to deal with it, this will indeed be the end of the game exactly, which is kind of crazy to think about. Of course, Cole does have 3 back row, so, if you're Soul, you got to be wondering, do I commit to that, or do I just sort of play it safe? And it looks like they are playing it a bit safe, and that made sense because the Torrential Tribute is getting fired here. A very conservative Torrential Tribute play, but oh, that Solemn is going to shut off that TT. And that might just be the end of the game here. Of course, Cole could also have drawn like a Spy or something, and that could be the set, in which case they will survive another turn. But if that is the Serpent, this won't quite be a game because, they'll still have some life points left. But it looks like that was indeed the Serpent. And yeah, these Spies are going to hit in, dropping Cole down to 200. Now, if Soul is playing something like a Cannon Soldier in deck, then that'll be the end of the game for Cole. Also, there's a Gravekeeper monster known as Gravekeeper's Cannon Holder, or Cannon Wielder. I forget the name of it. It's like Gravekeeper's Cannon something, which does allow you to tribute another Gravekeeper for 700, which will also get in the game. And yeah, as Cole mentioned, there is a Gravekeeper known as Gravekeeper's Curse, which when it's summoned actually inflicts 500 damage to your opponent. So that would just also end the game. So yeah, there are a lot of things that Soul can draw here just to end the game immediately. Not even mentioning like power spells like Change of Heart or something. It looks like Cole's going to set 2. And, Ring will end the game here if Cole does not have a Book of Moon. Book of Moon will be able to flip down whatever Soul is ringing. Soul does need to declare the target here because that actually will matter. And, yeah, you got to target the Spy because if there's a counterplay to book the Spy. Oh, okay. Raigeki Break comes down, popping the Spy and discarding the Serpent, which does reveal that Cole is setting a monster that is not the Sinister Serpent. So, they're still in it. That could be like a Spy, and in which case, you don't necessarily want to attack with the Spirit Soldier, but you kind of have to just to check on it. And that Spirit Soldier will indeed be hitting in here. Let's see what it is. Will that just be the end of the game? Oh, no, it's a guard, so that will bounce back the Spear Soldier. Makes sense. You don't want to bounce back the Spy, because then Soul can just get out another monster from deck. So this makes a lot of sense here. And, yeah, I mean, yeah, the interesting thing is that, like, Necro Valley doesn't really do anything in this matchup, which is very, very funny. I guess Soul did not see the, oh, yeah, there was lag on the flip, I guess. That's a DB issue. Occasionally happens there. But yeah, that'll bounce back the Spear Soldier, and Cole will survive another turn. Now, the iffy thing here is that if you're Cole, like, you're getting back the Serpent at the end of the turn, or not the end of the turn, you're getting back the Serpent your next turn, but you can't really commit it to field because that Spear Soldier just constantly threatens it. And if Soul has any way to remove the Gravekeeper's Guard, then that's just the end of the game. So, wow, this is a very, very intense match. I'm not sure how Cole's getting out of it, but Soul does only have 1350 life points left. So, there are cards that potentially do it. The MST is just going to be fired in the end phase here, trying to hit the new set. I think that makes a lot of sense. And Soul's thinking here. Let's see what they do. Wow, this is such an intense game. I'm like, oh. The quick play ruling did in fact change. So I'll message Soul. Because yeah. Can't use quick plays the turn they're set. Wrong there, but same difference. Yeah. So that's one of the things that marks Yata as a bit different from past formats, because in previous formats you were able to actually use Book of Moon like the turn you set it, or just any quick play spell. I don't think you could actually have used Book of Moon because it wasn't out by the time this ruling was in place. But yeah, and so Soul will not be able to activate that Book of Moon that they set that turn. Cole did not grab back Serpent here. So if that new set is Raigeki Break, then Soul's sitting pretty. That might actually be a very lethal misplay on Cole's part if it turns out that is the case. But yeah, I mean, ultimately it might not matter. Here comes the Raigeki. Does Cole have an out to that? Oh, they've got a Solemn of their own. Whoa, they're still in it potentially. Oh, and that will go through. So Soul does not have a Solemn, which is very good for Cole to know about, just in terms of like structuring their plays. Because if Soul had a Solemn, they would have fired it there, probably. Like 9 times out of 10. The fear would be if Cole had like a Solemn of their own. But even then, you probably just go for it anyways. As if Cole does not, then you just win the game. So will Cole remember the Serpent this time? It looks like they do remember the Serpent this time. And yeah, they're just going to set one, pass back to Soul. This is such an intense game here. Wow. I mean, who would have expected a Gravekeeper's Mirror to be this intense? I mean, really share if you play, because this is like, if you know any Gravekeepers who, especially ones who played in the early days of the game's history, then this would be very good. I mean, Forceful back the Serpent, I guess that makes sense. But Cole can chain a Raigeki Break if they've got it. But it looks like they don't. Or they might just not want to commit it because they're like, what are you going to do? You don't have an out to guard. Pot of Greed might draw a Soul and out to guard, though. Yeah, and also, like, Serpent's, like, a bad card for Cole to draw here, honestly. So, honestly, it's not bad shuffling it back in the deck. Necro Valley comes down. That doesn't really affect things too much, as Gravekeeper's Guard also gains attack from this. But it can actually affect things if Soul has a Gravekeeper's Assailant, as that will be the end of the game, as Soul can just summon that out, attack in to the Guard, and just end the game. But you do need Necro Valley on field for Assailant to actually get its effect, which is why this is actually important. Those attack boosts will go through. Thank you, DB, for adding the attack and defense changing sort of effect there. And it looks like Soul's just going to set one pass. Maybe that was to bait out removal in case, like, Cole actually did have something to stop this. But, yeah, it looks like Cole's just going to set another. Soul's just going to set another. And this is just so intense. Pot of Greed's coming down. That's a really, really good card for Cole. I mean, they really need to just draw some out to Soul's pressure here. But yeah, that Necro Valley might actually come back to bite Soul if Cole does have like a Raigeki, which they have not used up yet. If Cole does have a Raigeki and just fires it on the monsters, then that extra 500 will boost up Guard to a point where it can actually attack in for lethal damage. Now, there are cards in Gravekeepers that can sort of play around that. For instance, Rite of Spirit, that's definitely one of them. Rite of Spirit can get back the Assailant that was sent a long time ago. So, Soul's saying, I'm targeting Assailant here. And Cole's thinking about that. Maybe they have a Torrential Tribute set. I mean, that's one reason to think about it. And if you've got TT, you kind of do just have to fire it here. because you lose the game otherwise. But that will indeed go through. So, wow. Yep, Soul is a frequent guest on the channel. That's true. I know I say that like every video, but for people who haven't necessarily seen the videos before, I think it's cool. And, I hope that people do enjoy that sort of thing if they do get featured. Yeah. But, yeah, we're seeing like Soul grinds a lot of these old DM formats, and like they play a lot against me in my videos and against other people on the Discord. And so they are an extremely good player. And I think we're seeing that here. So Soul's going to attack in. Here comes the Mirror Force that will indeed go through. And yeah, so Soul is able to switch the attack or switch the monster with the assailant. That shouldn't actually matter unless they've got another Rite of Spirit. But it looks like they don't. So that will be fine there. And then Soul's just going to set one pass back. Now, if that's a guard, then Cole's in a really tough spot. Soul's only used up one guard. And so this could be really bad. Cole's going to switch that to defense, pass back to Soul. But this could potentially be the end of the game if that is indeed a guard. Wow, what an intense game. Yep, that's a guard. That's going to target the guard. Cole might have an out to that. They might have like a Torrential Tribute or something else like that. They might also have like a Rite of Spirit to bring back their own Gravekeeper's Assailant. But they don't have many outs here. Now, fun fact, if they do ring a monster on field, that will bring the game to a draw. So if they do have Ring of Destruction, that actually is an out. And yeah, so let's see. They do have Rite of Spirit, though, and they are targeting Assailant, which actually will be potentially very good. Assailant can hit over everything else that Soul has on field here. And that would be pretty nice. Also, if Soul has a Rite of Spirit of their own to bring back their own copy of Assailant, then that means that they won't be able to actually kill the Assailant by switching it to defense, because Assailant's attack and defense are the same. So very interesting interactions here. Very strange, but yeah, very interesting. I'm just going to check the Discord real quick to see if anyone has wrapped up their games, so that way I can put it in to the spreadsheet here, or not the spreadsheet, but okay. And Royal Tribute will knock out that guard in hand. Yeah, makes sense. So this set on Soul's part could just be a bluff here. But unclear. Looks like not Almini won their game. So I'll just put that in to the challenge here real quick. Solemn on the Mirror Force. Wow. Yeah, you kind of have to do that. And Soul's going to take 500 from this. So pretty insane there. Let me just put in this win from Not Almine. Sorry to disrupt the game here, but oh, it looks like someone else has done it for me. Perfect. So yeah, I don't want to, sort of get off this match too long, because this is like insane. This is some of the most insane Yu-Gi-Oh that I've like seen played, or at least featured on the channel. Like, it's just actually crazy. I mean, really, share if you play, because this is insane. There's a Spear Soldier. Now, that can get over a lot of what Cole might have. So Cole is really thinking here about what to do. But, they had to know that Spear Soldier was a risk. So, there are a lot of sets that Gravekeepers have that they're fine just Spear Soldier attacking into. I mean, of course, Spy, they're fine with that. And also Guard, they're also fine with it. But has Cole used up 3 guards? Yep, they've used up all 3 guards, so it can't be a guard. It could be a spy. It could be an assailant as well. It could also be a Spear Soldier itself, in which case Cole would be losing the game here if they let that go through. But it looks like they're fine with that. So Spear Soldier is going to hit into the set here. It is a spy indeed. So this means that Soul will actually take 500 points of damage. It's getting down really, really close. Yeah, Coco Valsalando, what a night indeed. I mean, this is like just insane. Like, I did not expect this. Going into this locals, I did not expect to catch a game like this. Wow. And yep, Spy will be able to bring out another monster from deck. Potentially a Spear Soldier. Or just another Spy. I think that makes sense. Walling up a bit more. Has Soul used up a Raigeki? Soul has used up Raigeki and Dark Hole. So Cole does not have to worry about board clears that aren't specifically Torrential Tribute. But yeah. No, I agree, Coco. Nothing better than just, sitting back, sipping a cold one, and just watching this insane gameplay. And that's another set from Soul here. Now, Cole can get aggressive here, attacking the assailant into the spy, dealing 300 damage that way. They could also go for the set, as you know, the set's a bit of a risk because 50 life points left. There's a lot of things that kill you here. So yeah, very interesting here. Oh, Raigeki will end the game. I mean, Rite of Spirit will. Oh, well, that is the end of the game. Whew, that is insane. Just incredible gameplay. Like, oh my god, that was one of the most insane games that I've ever seen. This format, any format. I mean, that was mind-blowing. Cole got down so low. Soul was also down very low. But like, I mean, that was just a grind game if I've ever seen one. Cole had to sit on that guard for a very long time at the edge of their seat, barely just surviving every turn, eventually shifting the aggressive pressure back. And oh my god, that was insane. Incredible game. Incredible gameplay. Let's just check the Discord, see if anyone else has finished. And it looks like that did good. So, okay, we've got another match over here. So it looks like Almine and Aretos are both moving on. So very cool to see. The tournament is progressing. And I think, like, normally at this point, I'd go to a different game just sort of see what other people are playing. But, I mean, I don't know. I'm invested in this match. Like, I am incredibly invested in this match after that game one. That's insane. I will just, like, sort of take a quick peek, though. But hello. That's DK. DK, I'm not sure if you were playing a game, so you probably haven't seen stream here. But, oh my god, that first game of the locals that we featured, it's a Gravekeeper's Mirror match, and it was absolutely insane.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I missed it, and I haven't caught up with it yet.
Yeah,
I played myself versus Aratus, and like I got absolutely sacked.
oh wow.
But it was fun.
Yeah, and that can happen in this format. What were you both
Like,
playing, if you mind me asking?
just pretty much good stuff decks. Nothing fancy. But like, you missed a very interesting situation. Like, too bad you didn't catch that on camera because we had like a Mirage of Nightmare standoff. On every side there was a Mirage of Nightmare, and no one managed to draw into MST.
Oh, that's
So
so funny. That
yeah,
happens to me in a lot of my replays too. It's just like,
really.
yeah, it's
Okay, I've never seen that before because like it went on and on for 10 turns, and I don't exactly remember. And like no one has MST, no one has really any beaters to finish the game.
that's
And
so
it just
funny.
goes back and forth.
I mean,
Yeah, and like
that sounds
yeah,
like peak Yata to me, honestly.
that's peak Yada. That's honestly peak Yada. And like everyone is just rolling the dice to pick cards from the opponent's hand to discard.
It's
Yeah.
insane. Yeah, I've played a couple games where I've just like had a Mirage up for like a bunch of turns and drawn no removal, and just like it was just wild. But I mean, honestly, hearing that like the other matches also had some hype gameplay just tells you how great a format this is, because like this game absolutely insane. That game sounds insane. Just like everywhere you go, just insane. I mean, as CS says in the YouTube chat, the GK mirror goes cray. And I mean, I gotta agree. Like, that is wild. Wild gameplay here.
Okay, I joined the game now. So
Okay, cool.
they're still siding.
Yeah, they're in siding. They
Yeah.
might be siding for a while because you don't normally anticipate the Gravekeeper's mirror.
Right.
So I actually, you know,
Oh.
I said, okay, Cole's done siding. So that means that Soul will probably also be done siding
Yeah.
soon.
Like,
yeah.
I wanted to say, like, Yada is a fun format in the sense of, like, it's unpredictable and it's fast and, like, anything can happen, like a Cyber Jar or Fiber Jar, I mean, but also Cyber Jar or Morphing Jar to a lesser extent, or Mirage of Nightmare. They can change the whole flow of the game.
Well, we saw in game one here a Solemn Judgment on a Morphing Jar.
Oh.
Yeah. No, it was wild. The game was just like, it was so cool. Highly recommend you and anyone else joining the stream at this point just to like, after the stream's over, just go back and like watch that, because it is like,
yeah, for sure.
I mean, every turn was just so good. But Kaiku comes down. That's an interesting card to side in against Gravekeepers.
Yeah. And it's like interesting. Why is he setting 4? Like, what is happening here?
Yeah, maybe
One of
just
them is order,
yeah. I mean,
and
Order's
then
probably here. Oh, but they let the
no.
Forceful go through. That either
I mean,
means
yeah,
it might not be Order, it might be Solemn instead, or they're just saving the Order for a prime target. Like you might not care about
right.
the assailant getting shuffled back.
Yeah, not really.
Set 4 pass as well. So
Hmm.
the difference here is that Soul has a beater and Cole does not. Now in this format, Kaiku does not banish spells or traps from grave. It just banishes monsters. So that is something good to know. But I see the reasoning behind bringing in a Kaiku. Okay. Raigeki break,
Yeah.
pitching Rite of Spirit. Makes sense. And Rite of Spirit's the reason why you might side a Kaiku because like
Ooh, Solus. Yeah. Solus thinking. So maybe they have like a solemn.
yeah, we
Right.
saw a bunch of judgments
Yeah.
in the last
Okay.
games here. Yep, there's a judgment.
Hmm.
And I mean, honestly, if you're Cole, you might want to. Yeah, okay, yeah. You might want to just let that go through if you've got a judgment as well.
Yeah,
Because
for
like,
sure.
yeah, it's a lot of damage. And if Soul's got another Solemn, then you're just dropping down super low because they've got the aggressive pressure here.
So like the set could be a Gravekeeper Spy, and that would like help a lot.
Yeah, Spy, Guard. There's a lot of things it could be, which would be pretty good.
No attack.
Yeah, no attack. I mean, I respect it, right? Like if it's a Spy or a Guard,
Yeah, right.
you want an attack mode here. Ooh,
That's that's
Raigeki
great.
break popping the set there.
And it is the spy.
Yep,
Yeah.
Cole's just automatically banishing it. They see what's coming. Although a right will actually prevent that. If like Cole has a right and they like write back the spy just in defense mode, then that could help. But looks like they do not. So the spy will indeed get banished here. Quite unfortunate for Cole, as you kind of want that recurable 2K defender. Not much gets over that this format. Looks like just another set pass. I mean, Cole's in a tough spot here.
So Cole won the first game?
Yeah, Cole won the first game by the skin of their teeth. 50 life points left.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. At one point, it was like, did it get down to 50 versus 50 life points? Yeah. Oh, thanks for stopping by, Allison Gomez. Yeah. And definitely be sure to check out the stream afterwards because I'm sure there will be a lot more like intense games here for you to enjoy. So, yeah, but thank you for stopping by. Yeah. You too. Take care. Nobleman come. Oh, that's just the end of the game. Wow.
Why?
What was Cole did have life points left, so
That was weird.
yeah. I maybe they just saw the writing on the wall, or maybe they had a spicy tech that like they didn't want Soul to see here. Could be. But yeah, very interesting. Yeah, a bit less competitive than game 1, I will say. But yeah, hopefully game 3 will live up to the game 1 hype here. Because I feel like I hyped up the game and then, you're like, oh, where's the hype here? But I mean, that can happen when you get like beaters on the field like that. Especially in this format, I feel like a lot of decks are not playing a lot of monsters with chunky attacks, and that honestly might be a meta pick that people start doing in the future, just including things like Gemini Elf, Kaiku, Bazoo, things like that, just because no one else is playing those really, or at least not playing them in large numbers. So we might be primed for more beatdown in the meta to come.
Yeah, sorry, I'm answering like questions in chat.
Oh,
That's why I'm
no worries.
staying silent.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you doing that because I'm sort of focused on the stream. So if there's anyone who has a question about things, like definitely do that. So yeah. While the siding is in progress, we can sort of just quickly dive into the other matches just to see how they're going.
All right.
Let's see.
Like I'm going to say like Yata is definitely like a fun format, and like we see that at the turnout because we have 16 people, right? We have 16 people playing this small tournament, this locals, and that's like absolute record number.
Yeah.
The best number before that was 12, I believe, for Treasure, right? And
Yeah,
that
I
was
think
two
so.
weeks ago.
Like,
Yeah.
we've never cracked 16 before, which is a major milestone because, in these sorts of
Yeah.
tournaments, this means 4 rounds instead of, or would it be 3 rounds? Because it halves each time, but when you get to one, no, I think it would be four. 16, 8, 4, 2. Yeah, 4 rounds.
Like we could have even had like more people playing, like 17 or 18, but then the bracket becomes like awkward.
Yeah, but honestly, if people do want to join, do not let having exactly 16 discourage you because we're always happy for more people. Um, but yeah, I think there were some people who might have wanted to play who reached out to me too late, and I'm sorry if that was one of you. Yeah, it's just we got to start at some point, and if you're after that cutoff, unfortunately, not much we can do. But I mean, that's just motivation to join the next one. So yeah, hi lad Russo 91. Happy to have you here. We've had a pretty insane stream so far. Seen some crazy Gravekeeper mirror action, and we're gonna go into game 3 very soon here. We got with Cole and Soul 65 both on Gravekeepers, and yeah, Gravekeepers are not like the best, I don't think. Like, I think even if someone manages to optimize them, they'll probably just be like tier 2 at best. But it is cool to see people experimenting with them, and they can give some decks a lot of trouble. Especially Necro Valley. Necro Valley is just a really annoying card to deal with in a lot of situations. Because there's so much graveyard recursion that is so powerful, and it just shuts all that off. Looks like Cole does not have a good opening here, which is quite unfortunate. They do draw an extra card here. So I'm gonna message them real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Draw for turn.
Okay.
Not sure if that'll change. I think at this point it doesn't really change much, but like at least they'll have the card in hand. But yeah. So I mean, I think at this point it's kind of up to like Soul to sort of decide what to do here because I mean this is a very casual thing and like yeah, okay, cool. They're being cool about it, which yeah. Yeah, zombies
Well,
are
that's
also cool, but I do think Gravekeeper
yeah.
is better than zombies, unfortunately. Big bang boom. Yeah.
Yeah, Gravekeeper Spice just so good, and like you don't have like Rio Koki, and what else is there
Honestly, it's just
available right
Patrician.
now?
It's just Patrician of Darkness that you
It's
can
just
bring out here.
yeah,
No Vampire Lord, no nothing. So it's just very underwhelming. Spirit Reaper's a good card, but it's honestly better in pretty much any other deck. Um, but we've seen some
yeah.
interesting tech in this match here. Lad Russo, sorry about the YouTube notification. That's weird. I'll look into that in the future, but it might not be something on mine. It might just be something that YouTube's doing. But yeah, hopefully, if we get more people watching these, then YouTube will prioritize it more. But I don't know exactly how that works. So, but yeah, very interesting tech here. So we see the bottomless for the Spear Soldier and the Assailant, I guess. Maybe also for the Kaiku, given that what killed Cole in round 2.
Oh, and yeah, I can say like Bottomless is one of his favorite cards. He told me some time ago.
So that makes
So
sense.
yeah, that makes sense. Like I should open the DMs and look what else is his favorite
Yeah.
cards.
Dust Tornado on the set, and it's an IO, so that's a really, really good one. Yeah, Michael Gray commentary. If you hop on over the Discord, we're just chilling in the general voice chat channel. So hop over if you're interested. The Discord link is in the description as well. So yeah, stop on by. But a full set back row from Cole here, very interesting. Playing a bit into Harpies and Heavy, which Phil might have sided here given so much back row. But yeah, very interesting to see here. Looks like we've just got a set pass from Soul, and Cole doesn't have anything to do with that. I mean, losing the 3 spy is such a big blow. That spy must have been in hand there, which makes sense. Could have double spy in hand, honestly, which would be actually insane. But yeah, the Solemn comes down for the spy. That may seem like very aggressive, but if you don't have any way to deal with it, Yeah, if you're in the Discord, just yeah, hop on when you're free. But yeah. Oh, bing bang boom. That's a very good tip. So yeah, if you hit the bell and set notifications to all, that should hopefully work. Thank you for that advice. So yeah, if you're in this stream and you wanted to be notified earlier, then definitely do that. But yeah. Okay, Cole finally drew a monster here. So that'll be pretty nice. And it looks like Soul might just be all on monsters. Unless they're just afraid to set back row here. Oh no! Okay, Soul is DC'd. Hopefully they do hop in to the thing. Okay, cool. They're back. Change of Heart for the set here. Now, obviously, that isn't as good as Change of Hearting, like a set Gravekeeper's Spy, and then bring out another Gravekeepers from deck, which is a very funny interaction that can happen in the mirror here. But Cole is out all 3 spies, so can't do that. If it's a guard, honestly not the best. Chief would be very funny. If Soul is just making a Chief play here, that would be hilarious. But yeah, it looks like it probably is a Jinzo. Yep, Jinzo comes down. Solemn comes down for the Jinzo as well there. I think that makes sense. If Soul has a Reborn, though, this is really bad for Cole. But yeah. Oh, lad, sorry to hear that. I'm glad you were able to stop by for part of this one, though. Pleasure to have you in the chat. And I try and respond to like all the comments that I get on the videos and the streams. So if you do comment there, I'll try my best to respond. And yeah, but hopefully, I mean, we are experimenting with like trying out different times. So we like generally put them to the vote in the Discord about when works best for people. 8 p.m. EST is often the one that just wins out because I guess a lot of people are in EST. But yeah, I might just experiment with like floating at interest if we can just hold one that's more EU friendly. Just sort of seeing how many people actually would be able to attend that, and then if there is enough people to attend that, then potentially holding that even with a lower number potentially. But yeah, so hopefully you'll be able to see one of those. But here comes a guard to send back the Kaiku there. But on attack deck, Soul has something. Raigeki break the set. This makes sense. So the reason why you do this is so that way Cole can't actually do like a mirror force here. I believe that's how it works because that's what you do with like Edison and stuff. Yeah, lad, thank you for staying up with us. We're happy to have you here for as long as you can stay awake. And hopefully being before a Saturday night, or before a Saturday day, I guess, Friday night. But hopefully that will, make it a bit easier and you can sleep in a bit. But it looks like here is a Rite of Spirit to bring back the guard just as a defensive wall. Makes a lot of sense here. And I mean, this was good enough to keep Cole in the game in game 1. So maybe the guard will just be enough. I mean, we'll have to see. Looks like a Snatch Steal on the guard in main 2.
In main 2.
So the reason for this I could see would be if Soul has a Book of Moon as well. So you snatch the guard, then just fire the Book of Moon to set the guard down. And then you're basically in a winning position. But it looks like they probably don't, or else they would have probably fired it before the standby phase. Break doesn't stop Mirror Force, yes, but like if you declare an attack first and then you do something else after that, I think that will prevent Mirror Force from like activating because Mirror Force has to be activated on attack deck. I think I could be wrong about that though. That's just something I've seen.
Come again. Like, come again. What do you mean?
So I know that there are like ways to like, if you declare an attack and then pop the set monster, you can then continue the attack and without fearing Mirror Force, right? Isn't that something that can happen in like later formats? I'm not actually sure, so definitely correct me if I'm wrong. It's just I've seen people playing around Mirror Force somehow, with things like Raigeki Break or etc. Oh, Mirage of Nightmare comes down. Glad to see that. Yeah, so definitely someone correct me if Okay, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Areta says.
Yeah, sorry, I'm distracted.
No,
I'm
no
like
worries.
dealing with.
Again,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
take care of the stuff on the Discord. But yeah, Areta says, yeah, use break and battle step, can't use mirror force. Okay. So glad that that's confirmed. So that I think is what Soul was doing there. The 8 Savior says, quick question, a little confused. So during Yata format / Worlds 2003, they used Kaiku's Rod effect where only monsters can be banished. That is correct, the 8 Saviors. The same thing applies to Bazoo and also to Skull Lair. So none of those can banish non-monsters. Yep, so... and we've got a Necro Valley coming down. Oh, that's why the Necro Valley came down. Royal Tribute. That is a pretty good card here. And that will pitch a Sangan from Soul's hand. Now, if Soul doesn't have an out to this Mirage of Nightmare, this will cause Soul to discard their entire hand. And it looks like they don't have the out in hand right now. So if they do have like an MST set or something, that will be fine at dealing with the Mirage. But otherwise, they'll have to discard their whole hand. Yeah, I don't quite understand the... Oh, wait.
Wow.
Why did Cole admit defeat? They discard from Mirage. Yeah, Cole's still in this game, I think.
Like he gave up too early.
Yeah, because Soul
again.
discards from Mirage, so they won't have a hand next turn unless they like top deck MST. Hello, blah, welcome. You missed some pretty intense games. Did you lose your match or?
I lost to siding for breaker format.
Okay, so can someone put in? Okay,
yeah, I will do this.
Okay.
Okay, like I have to like leave the voice chat for now and just take care of the Discord, I believe, because I can't do both. So see you later.
No worries. Thank you for doing that. But yeah, okay. So that's very interesting. I think that Cole could have actually won this game. I mean, they were very down on life points, but like with the Mirage Discord, they maybe could have done it. But yeah, sad to see. But you know, maybe they had to go as well. That could definitely be a possibility. But yeah, so it looks like the light aggro dream is alive. So yeah, Blah you were facing Colgate, so
yes, and those two weren't the only ones playing Gravekeepers.
Well, sure, but that was a mirror, which is
no.
Cool.
I'm just saying I played Gravekeepers too.
Oh, cool to see. Sad that it didn't
but
really
I played the burn version.
Yeah,
I played the burn version.
Oh yeah, I really like GK Burn. I think it's very, very interesting. So yeah, let's just hop into another game here that's going on. But hello, Cole. So we were a bit confused in the chat here. Walk us through your reasoning. Like, why did you forfeit there?
I mean, you could say it was a little premature, but I think I had like 4 monsters left in deck after the Nobleman of Crossout.
Yeah, I think that you could have potentially just held the fort on that board, though.
Yeah.
Like, as Salem could get over most things, and if Soul just kept discarding their deck, then that could have potentially kept you in it. But
what's funny is I sided in Prohibition just for knock, but I didn't draw it.
Rip. Yeah, Prohibition is a very interesting tech, especially going against the mirror, but I think it makes sense if you're not siding in knocks yourself. Loud Russo said he didn't believe in the heart of the cards.
It's true, I didn't.
Yeah, but maybe in the future though. But oh, interesting here. Okay, letting the IO lapse. I mean, they are on 1,000 life points, and I mean, when you draw something like Graceful, that's pretty good. So Graceful comes down, and that will go through indeed. Also they do indeed gain 1,000 here, because they can let IO lapse, and then Snatch Steal will cause them to gain 1,000. So yeah, that they're not out of the game yet, although I has a lot of monsters on field. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I
He's barcode.
Okay, barcode. That makes sense. It looks like a barcode. I get it. Okay, MST the Snatch Steal, that will keep them alive, but 2 cards left in deck. It's looking like Chloe might lose through deck out, especially with that discarded Fiber Jar there. They will knock a Serpent.
That's a Serpent.
Yeah, but...
depends. What's this?
Zaylude Mill, that's the end of the game. Wow!
Yes.
Wow! Oh wow, that's hilarious. I'm glad we caught the end
Normally-
of this game on screen because that is wild. I mean,
This was the end of the match.
yeah, it is the end of the match, but what a way to end the match. That's actually insane. That's what Zalug's mill effect doesn't often come up in these formats. Oftentimes you're just using the discard, but like, oh, that was wild. I'm glad we were able to catch that.
Yeah, this is
So-
probably the format where it doesn't matter that much. Like on this Discord, we talked about how if you mill Serpent while you have Yata in hand and the opponent doesn't have anything in hand, you just have them mill as much as you want because they're going to set Serpent. The Don Zalug is going to beat over the Serpent and the Yata is going to poke.
Yeah, but so it's like there's not really a reason to not just mill if your opponent has no cards in hand. Like I generally subscribe to that. There are some fringe cases, like if you're worried about your opponent potentially getting a good reborn target in the grave, then that is potentially a reason to do it. But like in general, you should be good to just mill off Zalug. But yeah, what a finish there. That is actually insane to see. But I mean, I'm glad we were showing it off. We've just shown off some insane games on the stream today.
Oh,
like,
yeah, you missed mine.
True, but we did see one with Cole, like that first game with you and Soul. That was insane. Like one of the craziest games I've seen.
I activated 2 Solemn Judgments and paid a total of 150 life points.
Yeah, and I think did you both drop down to 50?
He dropped down to 350. I
Okay.
think.
Yeah, I think what I was thinking of was then if you didn't draw the Raigeki, then just attacking with the spy would drop down by 300.
Yeah, that's what you. Because I was thinking the same thing.
Let's
Yeah.
take a look.
But that was really, really cool.
What game are you on right now, sir?
Dumbstruck.
Oh, you're
we're
on this one,
Dumbstruck
okay.
versus Johnny G. So
Yeah, I just jumped into this one, so very
Comfy
quickly,
is
let's check on
pretty
the
good.
others.
Comfy is pretty good here against that Mirage because you can potentially take the out to Mirage that Dumbstruck might have. And that would force Dumbstruck to like discard their entire hand. So very, very interesting play here. I mean, you do have a Gemini Elf on the field to contend with. So that can be kind of bad if you don't have a way to deal with that. But if you can get Dumbstruck to discard their whole hand, they likely can't kill you this turn. It does depend partially on what the set card is, but yeah, very interesting here. Welcome, Clody.
Hi, Clody.
We saw the end of that game, and that was a pretty insane one. So I'm kind of curious. What was your reasoning behind discarding the Fiber Jar off the Graceful? Because that could have potentially, reset the decks and prevented like deck out.
Yeah, but like I thought I was in advantage right there. Like I didn't expect Don Zalug set like that. I mean, actually, I thought that set monster specifically was Sinister Serpent, but
No,
in
one
the
of them
end,
was.
Sinister Serpent. Yeah, was the other one, but I thought it was that one
Ooh, that is
because
good
he
hand
had
discard.
been recycling the serpent continuously.
No, that makes sense for the reasoning. I'm glad we got to show off a deck out game here, because that is a bit rare to see in this format, especially with Fiber Jar in the format. I'm just gonna check the graveyard to see what outs Dumbstruck has to this Mirage. It looks like an MST is in grave, but they still have 2 MSTs left, and with 11 cards left in deck, I mean, do they not have one? Okay. Looks like they do not have one. This is definitely the more efficient way to actually discard. That's very smart. I should start doing that in my games as well because I also just do the random sort of discards. But this makes a lot more sense.
Ooh. Welcome, Brendo Donker.
Oh,
he's
we
on
got
the
another,
Discord now.
Okay. I thought you were talking about in the voice chat.
He might be. I don't know.
In this voice chat, I don't think.
Yeah, a different name, but someone joined the Discord. Also,
yeah, but
the Barcode Ioman game started.
Okay, well, that's good to know for after this one. But this is a pretty intense game. It looks like Dumbstruck is going to actually keep that card in hand. I think this kind of makes sense because, like, if you potentially draw into, just draw 3 here and draw into like the MST, you might want to just keep that card. You also might not want to draw 4 into your deck because you are approaching deck out territory,
Yeah,
which would make
and
this pretty bad.
Well, I mean, I really know that in the end, like, I just mill my deck with the Mirror Edge. That's how I lost the last game.
Yeah, and that can come up. I mean, we're seeing that here.
What happened to you is hilarious, but I lost to Barrel Behind the Door on a Ring of Destruction Lava Golem.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I mean, Barrel Behind the Door is a great card to side in against Burn, and that is one of the flaws with Burn in this format, is that, like, if you are able to barrel behind the door like a ring, that is pretty rough.
Unfortunately, he actually prepared for Burn. I don't think anyone else did.
Oh, it's good to have in the side deck. But yeah, I should probably update my side decks with barrels because I don't think I have them in my side decks currently for some things. So that's a good idea to keep in mind. Looks like Dump Truck finally drew the MST for the Mirage here, and now they've got 4 cards in hand, which is pretty nice. Johnny G is also at a pretty low life total, but it looks like Dump Truck does not have the means to actually press that. So they're going to set another, pass back to Johnny G. I mean, this is kind of tricky because Dump Truck needs to get aggressive at some point. And maybe they have a Jinzo in hand. I mean, do they have any Jinzos in grave? Looks like not. Oh, Nobleman on the set. That's very good here. Oh, and hitting a Serpent too. That's insanely good. Looks like Johnny G's just going to pass, though. It looks like they don't have aggressive pressure either. And yeah, it's kind of rough. Dump Truck's going to set another pass back to Johnny G. And Dump Truck needs to get the screws on because they just do not have the time. In 6 turns, they will potentially lose the game. They're thinking. Johnny G's thinking. They got a Harpies. That's really good here. And looks like Dump Truck's going to fire this MST just to snipe the back row. And losing the change. That's really big here. Oh, Lily. Now the question is, do you poke in for the full 34 or do you just poke in for 4? Looks like Johnny G's just going to poke in for 4. I think that makes a lot of sense here. Because, you might not be able to survive an attack of just any monster off the top. Bing Bang Boom says, feel like Mirage can speed the game up a lot, causing more deck outs if they don't draw what they need. And I think we're seeing that here. I agree completely. And yeah.
To an extent, yes.
Well, of course. But
Mirage is more like a power card than an actual consistency card, though it does get you into the deck.
I don't know.
Because
I think it's
like
also
a continuous
consistency card.
Yeah, I say it's more of one. It's more of one because you're getting more into your deck, but you're also drawing a lot of cards.
Oh yeah.
Or few cards, and it can be
Dark
stopped. It's why I say that. Yeah, it's why I say that this format, while it does have one Mirage, because Mirage is a continuous spell, can be destroyed before it activates. This
but
format,
I'm not saying there aren't doubts to Mirage.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not saying
doing
that
the pre-mat dropping down to 100.
I'm just saying that
you can't get Lily or else you lose because you can get exiled maybe. Exiled pop Tomato.
Or Tomato. Ram Tomato, but
Tomato depends on what he I think definitely Tomato. Look at the other guy's graveyard.
Triple Tomato's gone, Sangan Witch gone. Yeah, it seems like a good play. Zalug might still be in deck.
Another copy.
Spy. I mean, honestly, if
Johnny's got it.
I mean, honestly, if you're Dump Truck, do you even bring out the Spy or do you just say no effect? Because
maybe he's got another
wall, and you don't want to deck out.
Yeah. And if you do draw outs, I mean, we can probably determine what Dump Truck has left in deck. It looks like they do still have a Raigeki left in deck as well. And yeah. Does
he
Johnny
hasn't used
G
Spy yet?
Yeah. Well, I feel like I don't know. I feel like you just save the all Spies in deck, it seems like. Missed game over Lily.
Oh, he's got 3 Spies in his deck?
Oh yeah, that would have been game over Lily if they just summoned out the Tomato and hit into the Lily.
He doesn't have a second Zaluk.
Yeah. Because otherwise you just bring out Zaluk, discard the hand. So
Yeah,
I think that makes
exactly.
sense. Like, there's nothing really you're
Uh-oh.
claiming. Bing Bang Boom says, which makes Don's second ability shine in edge cases, as we did see. Yeah, very good point. But yeah, it looks like Johnny G is back on the offensive here, and Dump Truck might not have many ways to get around this. But
Nope.
yep.
He's going for deck out.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you can, right? The issue is
Yeah,
that,
you
yep,
know.
Raigeki is still left in deck, and that
Oh,
is the issue, right? Like, that's,
end of the game.
so yeah.
End of the game.
Yeah, looks like they were probably getting deck.
End of the
Oh, and
game.
the summoned Moth just hitting in for 300. That
Karibo.
would
Had-
do it.
We had
Even
Man
if
Eater Bug
deck
last week.
doesn't matter.
This week it's Magician of
Yeah.
Faith.
So, fun fact, that game must have gone so long that felt like game 2. But oh yeah, insane game. Wild ways to end it. I mean, I think Mirage like makes these games really crazy. In a lot of cases.
Eratos versus Soul has gone into siding for game 2.
Okay.
Eratos
Just
won.
like this. So it looks like they're on
Yes,
the
that's-
same sort of pace here. So very cool to
Yeah.
see.
Colgate's missing.
2 things
Yeah,
I
another
wanted
nailed
to.
it.
One. Part of the reason I scooped early is very stupid, but it's kind of player I am.
Hmm.
I like playing off meta stuff because no matter what game it is, I hate mirror matches. And when he started off with graceful, discarded the royal tribute, I was like, oh come on, what's the odds of that?
Yeah, mirror matches are very funny, and like you generally don't see them in just playing a tournament, right? But I mean,
Because
you
I
two
was
got the
like-
unluckiness to pair up, and yeah,
I was like, the whole point is Necro Valley is so good
Oh.
with the plus 500, and
Oh,
now it's
it's-
useless.
yeah.
A new person. Scrub for life.
Hello, Scrub for Life, welcome.
Hello.
We're not insulting you, by the way.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Welcome. So what have you
Oh,
been
I'm Michael
thinking of-
Gray, and
Yeah.
I'm Michael Gray from the YouTube
Oh,
comments.
perfect. Yeah, you mentioned earlier. Yeah, happy to have you on here. But yeah, what have you been thinking about the tournament so far?
I just
Huh?
hopping back in.
Okay, so you missed some pretty insane games. There were some with like we saw Don Zalug deck out, which was very funny.
Okay,
Uh,
I think I heard that in the background just as it happened.
yeah, it's just wild to see. But we have been like sort of discussing like Mirage of Nightmare is such a crazy card that it can just sort of drive
Mirage
you
of
so deep
Nightmare
into
is
deck.
just so
To
degenerate.
be
Like,
honest,
yeah.
never been.
especially if you use it like with the interactions with Sinister Serpent.
Yeah, it's wild. And I've shown that
Like-
off in some of my videos, and it just feels so strong when you've got Serpent to pair with Mirage. Even if you're not drawing the MST, like it can just be so good.
Yeah, I think Serpent's with Raigeki break now in the meta. I think Serpent's probably a top 5 card in my opinion. I know I'm not the expert.
Yeah,
Well, I remember oh, go ahead.
there you go. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say when I was watching one of the last replay you posted, you were at 2 cards and you brought back Sinister, and I was like yelling at the replay. I'm like, no, wait until next turn. You'll draw 2, and then you can put the Sinister back.
Yeah, that makes sense, honestly. I should have probably done that. But at that point in the game, I was kind of just like, I don't need to draw more into the deck. If
Yeah.
it's the game I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you were way ahead. I mean, you were got to the point where you couldn't draw off of Nightmare because you had too many cards.
Yeah, which is one way to deal with Nightmare.
Yeah.
It looks like Johnny G does not have a way to out Nightmare as well.
PK0, and I was like, I just had to keep paying for Imperial Order, even though I didn't want to, because it was just like, if I don't, he's going to draw 4 cards.
Yeah, and that's another thing with Mirage is that it can force out things like IO early.
Wow.
We might get to see Colgate play after all.
That is
Duo
Colgate-
Yata Raigeki.
That is a
Colgate-
crazy set to discard.
Colgate and Burn King are now about to start.
Perfect. So we can potentially head over to that after this game. But honestly, this game looks like it's shaping up to be something exciting. And
Have we seen any Gearfried?
Unfortunately, not yet. Not that I've caught on camera. MST on the Mirage in draw phase. Yep, that's one way to deal with it. And I mean, it's got to feel somewhat bad losing the MST, but like you can't give your opponent the chance to draw the out to Mirage.
I'm not sure who got the real advantage over that play with MST.
I think that Dump Truck had to do it, honestly. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's iffy, but like, Johnny's eventually going to draw the out, and like, yeah. But we got some more comments in the YouTube chat. Bing Bang Boom. Be sure to check the rest of the VOD later. It should be fun. Coco Vasalano agreed. Awesome game so far. And hopefully the rest will be awesome as well. And yeah, I think this is a great format for spectating Bing Bang Boom. Like, just from the games we've showed off, it's just been one insane thing after another. Like, playing games in this format as well, it's just like, it's wild. Like, I don't know. I've really enjoyed pretty much every game.
If he had an MST, the Nightmare, he would have plussed right here because he drew the MST.
So I think that was worth it to do. And also MST on Ring, that's pretty good. Ring is one of the most powerful cards in this format. Although I'm not sure how I feel about a blind MST on 2 back row. It's kind of iffy for me, but different people play in different ways.
Through, like, with 4 cards on the field, and you're just like, I still win.
Yeah, that too. Like,
there's like, I can't do anything.
Also, you might have a back row war, and you might want to clear something. Like, I got in my game against Colgate, I got a chance to drop Lava Golem because I blind MST'd and he did Scapegoat.
Well, yeah, but like, that sounds like you were going also for a push as well.
But not really. Yeah, I was playing Burn.
Oh, and Dump Truck's on the Mirage as well, which is another reason why you might not potentially want to just fire the MST here.
This is like anime levels of people just always open with their like power card.
Yeah.
It's a thing I noticed in my games as well, because I was being particular about continuous cards like Gravity Bind and Nightmare Wheel. Because MST is less flexible this format. Because one, the rule change.
Yeah,
2,
the rule change, but
2, Mirage of Nightmares, also your own is now a target that you might want to save an MST for, or the opponent.
But I'm not sure I'd say that MST is less flexible. I still think that MST is one of the most sort of flexible cards that you can play in terms of back row.
Oh, it still is. I was saying less flexible, as in it's not. You can't do it in the same way you could before.
Oh, and there's the MST on the Mirage. Oh, so Dump Truck immediately gets the out.
Speaking of,
it's more important. I think what you mean is it's more important to hold it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah.
So you'll be able to get away with like a Nightmare Wheel or a Gravity Bind or whatever else.
Yeah, if you're a stall deck, for sure. But, there are some cases where
until they see it, and then they'll probably just use the MST on Gravity Bind.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you get to Nightmare Wheel. That's the point.
Well, no, but if you've got another, I don't know. It's kind of interesting to talk about because, like, it really depends on the situation, right? Like, and that's where it comes down to. Situationally, there are things like that, but I mean, Yata comes down.
Yeah. Oh, it forces a choice, basically.
Yeah, but I think that choice is also there in other forms. I mean, I don't know. That's just my take on it. Like, and again, it's situational, but
like it is. But
instead of Yata is very interesting here.
Gravity
and it was the right choice.
Whoa!
It does, yeah. So you gotta, and call going for Zalug here. You wouldn't be able to do that with Yata.
Hasn't been used yet.
Ring.
Don Zalug, honestly.
From Johnny's end, it could be set, but
so Don Zalug,
Johnny accepted the damage.
Ooh,
I heard one of you mention. I heard one of you mention that Bottomless is my favorite card. Don Zalug definitely makes it a lot worse in this one.
Oh wow! Just the concede right away.
Wow.
Wow. I wonder what the back row was.
I mean, they were full life points yet.
And he had Yata in hand, the plus off Mirage.
Yeah, it might have just been. Oh, yep. And there's the elf getting sent. I mean, the draw off the top could have been a monster, but like
could be anything, like Dark Hole, Harpy's Feather Dust.
Yeah, but I mean, we've seen a couple people just sort of do that and scoop it up when the game seems over, and sometimes you can't blame them, right? Like, it can be tough just clawing your way back from that sort of thing. And, if you don't necessarily want to do that sort of thing, then
Soul is playing another mirror? Oh no, wait. There's just spies. Never mind.
Yes.
Uh,
Aratos is on a more good stuff version. The version we'll be seeing in full in Vampire.
So B-Sox, I want to say two
Yes.
things to you.
I mean, I think
One,
I'm lagging way behind
realize-
you on watching the stream.
Oh,
Did you realize you have
the stream does lag, yeah. So you can actually watch on DB, and that will keep you up to date with the game.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But
DL with
Cole,
it
what did you want
says
to say to me?
Mirage Pog.
Yeah, did you know you have 238 videos?
Oh, that's more than I expected. It adds up quick.
2, I think this will offend you considering you have 238 videos, but I wanted to say I expect me to be a lot more active because I think this is the first format of the game where you can be creative in deck building.
Interesting.
I think it was way too limited beforehand.
Yeah, I think that there's some
Honestly-
merit to that idea, but like I
To an
personally
extent,
feel like, you know, there's still a lot of creativity for, you know, previous formats. But I do
Let's
think that
say,
like with
like,
the introduction of like
yeah.
Gravekeepers and other things like that, there are a lot more
Um,
things you can do.
I think
I'd
I
say
think it's
there's
that
like different kinds of creativity at play, right?
we're really starting to move away from good stuff is still good, but like there's a lot more options to not run like the same, you know, normal summon monsters.
Yeah, that's
in
true.
previous formats, yeah, we had like
Io on Reborn.
Yugi Kaiba doesn't count for obvious reasons. Critter kind of counts, but it's more variety in terms of the good cards that are available. But in
Yeah.
Treasure, we had Burn, Mill,
Well,
other
I
good
think
stuff. We had
so.
yeah.
I don't know. Cole, correct me if I'm wrong on what you're saying here. But are you saying that like in the sort of like best sort of deck of the format, like there's no clear like good stuff deck that you can play? Like
I'm saying that like in my Gravekeeper deck, like I'm not running Gemini, Bazoo, Kaiku. Like I'm just running the Gravekeeper monsters,
Yeah.
and then in like
yeah, you have to choose what
I
good
mean,
stuff
the-
cards you do.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
Bazoo's
good stuff-
blah
so-
now anyway.
and also
So-
effects. So with like Don Zalug, like this is a 1400 attack monster, and it's really good.
Yeah. So, and you know, a lot of decks will play it, a lot of decks won't because some decks just can't fit it. But like, it's a great search off Tomato. It's a great search off Rhoda if you are playing like a warrior package. Like, there's a lot of decks that, you know, slotting in Don's Luke's very easy to do. And so you've got to make that decision in deck building. Like, do I go for that route? Do I not? And here
I
comes the
think
Kaiku.
people should play more trap hole.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Like, you know, I mentioned this in my guide for the format that like Torrential Tribute has gotten a lot better here. But you know, Trap Hole's sort of fallen by the wayside. People don't really play Trap Hole, and it can be good. You know, you preserve your board presence while, you know, depriving your opponent of something.
Yeah, especially if you want to play like I was playing with like 2 Gravekeepers in the main deck because I was expecting like Gearfrieds and lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It remind me of something.
Board
If a
presence,
kid-
and you can just trap hole everything that comes out to swing at them.
yeah. The one flaw is that it doesn't hit Lily and it doesn't hit Yata, both of which are and it doesn't hit Reaper as well. So if you're in a tough spot where you need to stop the Yata lock, it isn't good. But you know, if you're not worried about that, then interesting. Oh no, you have to do this because they're at 16. So yeah, that makes sense.
Remind me of something. If Ring pops a monster that Nightmare Wheel intends to target, Nightmare Wheel stays on the board, yes?
Yeah, but doesn't deal damage.
I'd have to look at Nightmare Wheel's effect, like the exact wording of it.
Wording does not help you in these days, my friend.
No, yeah. But oftentimes, as long as there hasn't been like a rulings change, like that we know of, we can assume that it worked the same way that it did back then. It doesn't always hold true, for sure. But there's a lot of cases where it does. So
that's part of why I didn't want to run Gravekeepers, because I was like, because I used to be a judge on Dueling Book, and I was like, Necro Valley is like the only card that changed its effect every time it changed its wording, and I was like, I don't know what the interactions are.
Yeah, in this format, Necro Valley it basically prevents things from interacting with the graveyard unless they're affecting themselves in the graveyard. So like Serpent still comes back to hand. But things like Kaiku, Fiber Jar, Reborn, things like that will not be able to be activated under Necro Valley. Okay, there's the IO.
It doesn't hit enough
That's
things.
also why you don't blind MST in this format.
Yeah, because an IO can just pop up. Wangu is pretty good here. This might be the end of the game. Aretos might have something here.
If he has the mirror force.
Yeah, Mirror Force would be pretty good here, but nope, looks like that will indeed be the end of the game. So 1-1 here. We'll have to see if the Gravekeepers can take it. Share if you play, right?
I found out 30 minutes before the local started that Gravekeepers are in this format. I thought this was like 2 years away.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think people think it comes out later because like it doesn't show up in like topping lists, right? Like in GOAT format
Dealt
stuff,
with it.
people play like multiple spy, because you know it's a chaos target and like things like that. It's a
Also
good
good
wall.
for Monarchs.
Yeah, exactly. So
Necro
there's-
Valley feels like a card they would be releasing to try and stop chaos and failing.
Yeah, and so it makes you think that it comes further down the game's history, but it's actually in it like pretty early, and I really like the lore behind Gravekeepers at this point in the game because they're not trying to stop chaos, they're trying to stop zombies from coming back from the grave, and it's just the perfect sort of thematic thing. Zombies versus Gravekeepers, you know, which side will prevail.
And it's also like the only deck that kind of relates to the anime.
Yeah, because Egyptian,
And-
it's ancient Egypt, you know.
Yeah. And quietly in the background, we have the Dark Scorpion gang, basically, going through those ruins.
They're not.
Where?
They're unfortunately not
Directly.
there yet.
Not
in
connected
full
to
force.
that. And
Zayleague is out,
Yeah.
and Dark Scorpion Burglars is out. So there's some
Scrub, we
there's
got a
some
lot of
noise
background.
coming, yeah, from someone's background.
it's
Yeah.
from Scrubs.
But yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I was walking through.
No worries, no worries.
I just closed my door.
Yeah, no worries.
But yeah, I dealt with the issue. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Can I be so nitpicky with you, B-Socks?
Yeah.
And you
Knit all the
didn't, like,
or pick
direct-
all the
yeah.
knits you want.
You were mentioning that how Necro Valley's like graveyard effect works. You said like Kaiku doesn't work. Technically, Kaiku isn't negated by Necro Valley. It can't activate because cards can't be banished.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
that-
God
that's
his ass.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Got
That's
got
true.
him.
The floodgate effect is still technically up on Kaiku. And
Can you please, by the way, this will get you 1,000 subscribers.
Ooh.
If you make a hand control deck, include a clip of you like in your room doing the GX scene where Don Zalug summons himself.
Oh, I loved that episode. It was just so campy, like you know.
Oh
you
yeah, and
gotta-
he's doing like a Christopher Walken impression
Yeah.
in the
for no reason, but it's great. Oh,
Dang.
GX was definitely a trip.
Yeah, I never realized how much GX was.
Uh,
It was very self deprecating, if you want to say that word. It was very aware of it was stupid.
Oh yeah, which is, I mean, it sort of predated like a bunch of Bridge series, and I mean, it's really cool in that way. I want to answer a question from the YouTube chat. Richard Dong says, Tomato works and Serpent works under Necro Valley, correct? And that is indeed correct in this version of Necro Valley. Even though their effects activate in Graveyard, they will indeed work. So yep. And Raynan says, zombies suck. Come on, the Gravekeepers. And yeah, zombies are not good here, as Lad Russo 91 also says. It's just kind of unfortunate that it's like it's a very one-sided rivalry in that way. Especially because Necro Valley like hard shuts down a lot of the reasons why you want to play zombies, for instance, like the triple book of life. But yeah, it's still cool lore-wise though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I started playing.
Unfortunately-
Sorry.
You have to play zombies another way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to play a version of Zombie. Oh, Wang Hu for the tomato. Very, very good here. Rangers might have outs like Ring. Yep, Ring. Speak of the devil. Ring is indeed an out to Wang Hu. And that's a pretty good out because then you can get the offensive sort of pressure on the next turn. So, pretty good.
Depending on... Oh, wait,
Forceful's
maybe
pretty
not.
good though too, yeah. That will enable Soul to sort of, deal with Ratos' hand. And I really do like the activation of Forceful after you do your battle phase and stuff. Because Wang Hu is probably going to be the correct choice to bring out here, like no matter what. And you want to be able to know like what your situation is going to be like after that battle phase, in case your opponent does have ways to deal with Wang Hu. So I think this makes a lot of sense on Soul's part, and it's a very heads-up play. Like a lot of people, when they first start playing these formats, they just fire the hand rips right away because it's just pretty insane, right? but there is some nuance to playing them. So it looks like they're
What
sending.
format's after this one? Is it Chaos Yata?
I think it's
No.
Breaker, which is like just the
Magician's
release of
Force.
Magician's Force.
It-
Which introduces things like magical scientists. So get ready for some
shit.
FTKs.
Secret Barrel.
Yep, Secret
So
Barrel.
Burn is going to get even better.
Apprentice Magician. Like, it introduces a Breaker the Magical Warrior, of course, as well. There's a lot of very
Does
interesting things.
Ojometrio come out?
I think Ojometrio
Yes.
might come out in IOC, maybe? Because
No,
I know
It comes out in MFC.
it does? Okay.
Yes.
Oh
So
shit!
does Spell
Get your
Canceler.
burnout, boys.
Yeah. I mean, Wave Motion
Spell
Cannon, I believe,
Canceler.
also comes out in MFC. So Burn's going to be a deck to look at in Breaker format. And I'm going to look at
As
it
well.
in Yata format as well, don't worry. But I mean, the version of Burn that, I grew up with was, you fire some Wave Motion Cannons and, you just sit on that for a couple turns and kill your opponent. So I'm looking
You
forward
didn't
to
grow
playing
up in Chain Strike Burn format.
No, that was a bit afterwards. Although, I have played that deck and it's very well, it's fun for the player who plays it.
I think it's the only time someone in real life threatened to like punch me after a game. They were so mad.
Yeah,
Looks
I
like
mean it's
a-
definitely an infuriating deck to play.
They told me to grow
Update.
some pubes after that
Yeah.
one.
Classic
Update.
Yu-Gi-Oh players.
Colgate and Burn King have gotten through a slog of a game
Okay.
one.
Raindance says, "Is Trio not Dark Crisis?" It might be Dark. I don't actually know.
I'm
I mean, that's
Googling.
something just to look up. If someone wants to look that up. The reason I thought it was IOC is because IOC has it has the chaos stuff, sure, but it also has a beast part too. Like you get Berserk Gorilla, Enraged Battle.
Oh, it is Dark Crisis.
a
Never
bunch
It
of
is
things.
mind.
Dark Crisis.
Okay,
Yep.
Dark
God.
Crisis. Yeah.
Yep.
Ooh.
I mean, still, you can play a good burn deck, with what's available at the time. It's just not quite.
Also,
complete.
Barcode defeated Iomine.
Oh, perfect.
Yes,
So-
apparently no one updated. So
Yeah,
I
I
have
can
to
do
ask.
that now. So Bark. Oh no, someone updated. Looks like that happened.
Are any of you looking forward to the degeneracy of Chaos Yata format?
Listen, I'm a
No.
degenerate at heart, so yes.
I'll put it this way. Chaos format's going to be very interesting. IOC format's going to suck.
But I mean, that's fun in its own way. Like, honestly, so part of the reason why I enjoy doing this sort of thing, just going through each format one by one, is because they feel like different flavors of this game, right? Like, if you want a grindier game, you can play something like Critter format. If you want, I mean, some crazy gameplay in the DM era.
What did he ring?
Ring for the tomato. Oh yeah, Aratos lost the. Oh no, they did lose the 14, and then they took the 17 from the Wangyu. That's an interesting play. I guess maybe to avoid Mirror Force. If you ring in the battle step, right, you avoid Mirror Force, can attack indirectly. Oof, Solemn on Zalug. I mean, sometimes you do what you got to do, right? And
Yes.
yeah, that probably was necessary. But this is definitely a nail biter. Spear Soldier comes down. That will get TT'd. Makes a lot of sense here. As there are a lot of draws off the top that do it for Ratos, especially if they are playing a bit more of a warrior package. Rhoda does it. Any of the warriors that play do it. Kaiku's a pretty good
Kaiku?
draw, though. That's a really good draw.
Mirror
and
Force not set.
Ratos will take it. And they will lose, probably the Sangan and Tomato, maybe? I could
The
see
Dawn.
those. Well, maybe the Dawn, but the issue is, so if Aratos draws, Reborn or something, right? If they bring back Dawn Zalug, that doesn't bring another body onto board, but if they bring back Tomato, it does. And Soul's dead either way, so if they've got to wait
Also,
for
Raigeki has
Kaiku.
been used. So
But there are other things like
Oh.
Fissure, for instance.
Fissure.
No, that will do it. And it looks like
Oh, he said
Aratos
something.
is setting.
It has
so
to be Magician of Faith, huh?
It could also be a
Yeah,
Sinister
probably
Serpent
Moth.
as well.
Yeah.
But it looks like there's Raigeki.
No, it's-
Oh, and it's a
Ooh,
spy.
Spy.
Not.
Yeah,
I,
Spy's a
I
good-
don't like that. I don't like that play.
Not the end of the game.
Oh yeah, he should have attacked.
Yeah. I mean, I think it.
That was easy.
Yeah, because if you're playing around Torrential, you're gonna get TT'd either way here, I guess. On the spy, and
Yeah, you just hoping to draw another monster next turn after
MST
TT.
drop.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh no,
Ooh.
Io will do it as well. Yeah. So that will stop it. Soul will have to pay 700.
He has.
It's kind of weird when it's like an opponent's effect as well. I'm not sure if you can actually order. I think you do have to actually pay the 7 and then pass priority to your opponent. You can't actually say, this is happening after. So Soul does have to pay for this if they do want the IO to negate the Mirage.
I should have waited
Stand
until he
by-
triggered the Mirage effect. and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
done
that
it
would
and
have done
not
it.
paid.
So I'll yeah.
Yep.
Let's see.
Oh, Aratos' turn. Yes.
So no, this is Soul's turn. So
yeah, I think
Then-
since
yeah,
they're both mandatory,
so
he has to
so what
pay.
happens
Yeah,
here?
Soul has priority.
No, but
because
what
he's the
happens
turn
here?
player.
So basically, what happens is, if IO is up before standby phase, then you have to decide whether to pay before Mirage effect activates, right? If IO chains to Mirage activation in SP, then Aratos would not draw. So you do have to, in a situation
Soul
like
can
this,
still not pay.
what? No, Soul would have to pay if they activate in draw phase.
Yes.
Yeah. So they
If
do.
they
Yeah.
But if they had activated in standby phase, they could
face,
have
they
indeed
can
not
choose
paid.
not to pay.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I had one question for. Are you going to skip GOAT format?
I'm not planning on like skipping GOAT format, but I probably won't go super in depth in GOAT format because there's so much you can do in GOAT format. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of YouTubers like Skilled Brown Magician who like have shown off that there's a lot you can do there.
Yeah, but it's all like trash, basically.
Well, yeah, but there's still fun decks, and I've played a fair amount of trash on this channel. Don't get me wrong.
Wait, Soul activated and draw.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, again, this is a locals, so like it's up to Aratos really, based on how they want to play this, because like, yeah, if there's
I would not have let that go.
It's not
it looks like Aratos is being kind
what
about
you
it, and just
said.
letting that go.
Okay.
But yeah, so
But now Mirage SP will trigger.
yeah, now Mirage will trigger. But yeah, so
this needs to be a monster. It's a monster.
Yep,
It's a monster, but that's not the one you wanted.
Yeah, won't quite kill. Now, if Soul is playing Cannon Soldier, this is actually a bit of a risk for Ratos to get rid of the Sangan, because then you have to deal with the 500.
It's only a risk if you can't win the game from this position.
Yeah, but they might not be able to, right? Like
that's what I'm saying.
Raigeki's gone. So, and if they don't have an out to Mirage here, then they need to discard a bunch.
Is IO.
Yeah, if IO is here, then Aratos can indeed stop the Mirage from going through and discarding. So you can order it that way in the standby phase, which is good to know. It's a bit confusing with like the ordering of Mirage in all these cases. But yeah, it's important. It does come up. MST Mirage. Yep, makes sense. I think
was
with
the Mirage Nightmare in the anime, like you discard like 4 turns later.
I think it was something like that because it got played in GX, right?
It got played in the Kaiba's tournament, like season 5.
Oh, did it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and in GX.
No, but cool to see. But
I never knew that Kaiba played Chaos Emperor Dragon. That
against Siegfried von Schroeder.
Yeah.
Or I think that was his name. No.
I didn't make it that far.
You're bluffing.
That's a fun filler arc. Like it's not the best filler, but it's still fun. But anyway, I should
not as good as the previous one, but it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, the previous one was one of the best seasons of the show, I think.
I feel like I only remember the first season, and then I had to go to soccer practice, and I was devastated because I couldn't catch it on Saturdays.
Now you missed Battle City. Oh, Battle City was so good.
I remember being very upset that Call of the Haunted didn't bring back all zombie monsters.
Yeah, like bones.
It brought back all monsters as zombies.
Yeah,
Ah, okay. Then yes, even more upset.
but didn't it like work like once every turn or something? Like,
So
Yeah, it
that's
was
where we
just-
get Bones lost Crawling Dragon and like some other stuff, and then he played Call of the Haunted, and that's where he got like Zombie Dragon, Zombie Warrior, and yes, so it's the
That's-
weirdest effect ever.
yeah, it was
Every
broken.
time your monsters die, they come back as zombies with 10% more attack, and that stacks. So if they die, it's like 21%, then like 33%, then it's exponential.
yeah,
Damn it, Yugi, where's your MST?
yeah. But
And then of
was
course,
actually
What an
Joey
intense-
who faced
Well, yeah,
Call
it
of
was
Haunted.
Joey, but you know the joke still
Oh, was
stands.
it?
But
and zombie monsters have no defense, so Sword and
Apothecary's pretty
Shield
good.
won the game.
Oh,
very intense
they
game.
just
This
they just
feels
threw
like
shit
it'll-
against the wall.
Oh
Turn into
no!
Graceful.
Graceful's pretty good as well here. Wow, that is a good draw.
Harpies is gone.
and the
Storm
serpent,
is
yep.
live.
Yeah, it's discard the card that cost you 1,000 life points.
And Serpent. Yeah.
This might be the end of the game. Very, very intense game. Very much a nail biter here. Looks
It's
Right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
basically a cannon soldier. If he has nothing or soul
Oh,
has
yeah.
an answer, this is over.
yeah. Well, that's the problem. I mean, Aratos could also have like forceful as well.
I
That
think he's
could
searching
be-
Spy.
Yeah, if you got Cannon Soldier, you're going Cannon Soldier.
Yeah.
He does have Cannon Soldier?
Well, that's if they do.
Yes.
They might not have
Yeah.
Cannon Soldier
Yeah.
on deck. Looks like just a
Oh,
spear soldier.
That's scary.
Yeah, but it won't deal with this tomato.
Right, Geki
Soul's
break?
thinking. Okay, that will go through. No mirror in there.
Book of Moon, as
Yep.
expected.
Ooh,
That's
that's
game!
400.
That's game!
That will be game if Aratos doesn't have a way to deal with this.
With only 6 cards in hand.
Yeah. Oof.
Oh,
All right. I'm also
man.
checking on Colgate.
We'll have to see
And
if this is
Burn
the
King.
end of the game here.
I feel like if I had more than one spell or trap, I would always set more than one
Oh.
just in case.
Ooh,
Yeah.
it's another
What if
grind
that was
fest.
MST?
Yeah.
It was actually a good.
This is
guess
such a
by
nail
Troy.
biter. Oh my goodness.
Expecting that was exactly tomato.
Whoever's
Because
talking is way too
everybody
quiet.
said,
Oh, that's Clody. I think,
yeah, but because everybody's sleeping here.
yeah,
Can't
the
be
European
honest.
time zones.
Spy.
Yep, there's
is
the
his
normal
game.
summon spy, and they're going for it. Now there are some things in Rite of Spirit.
Rite
is
of
one of the
Spirit.
things that could potentially be bad for Ratos. Yep, they're bringing back that Spear Soldier. I think that makes a lot of sense.
It doesn't end the game.
Fisher.
It doesn't end the game, but it really does threaten a lot. Serpent not
Depends on
added
if he
back.
can remove it. Basically, the
He's
back
checking
row.
Mirror Force.
Yeah. And he's just attacking in. I think that makes a lot of sense. Ratos drops down to
Oh
100.
my god.
And this
Down
is
to 100.
this is a very
All of
intense
Soul's
game.
games.
Yeah, no, all these games have been super, super intense. Like,
Where's the change of hearts?
yeah, Change of Heart would do it, but there are some outs that Soul potentially has to that.
Not
Soul has
very
2
alive.
Solemns in deck.
Yeah. Well,
Oh yeah,
or on
Psalm
field.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solemn.
Those would
Book
be
of
some
Moon.
high value Psalms.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Book of Moon as well. We'll do it.
And
Or
this is
Change
such
of
an
What do y'all
Heart.
intense
think
game.
about
And
book?
one of the crazy things, okay, Rhoda is decent, but
Is it-
Exile
Oh,
He
he
Force
uses
is
uses
gone.
Elvira.
Zalug.
Zalug, yep.
That's
That's
set.
yeah, because
Premature Burial's dead.
well, yeah,
Is
but
a card right now.
not every deck plays premature as well. But Zalug in set
yes.
in defense mode, that's
Top
pretty
deck
good.
Nicker Valley for
because-
game.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. I think this is probably the best move that Ratos had at this point in the game.
This is where I've been putting in one Zombira if I'm running Rhoda, and it's just been going like super hard.
Oh, that might be the end of the game here.
Just to clarify, this Raigeki break thing doesn't do anything.
It's
No, the
game.
it will stop a
Well-
mirror force if you do it in battle step because that's technically after.
But he could have just mirror forced.
No,
but
because
like,
so basically what
well,
happens is you declare the attack. The opponent says that's okay,
yeah.
and then in battle step before damage step happens, you use an effect. So at that point, it's past the point where you can respond with mirror force.
But
Herd
then you
advantage
would
be
have to
damned.
clear the attack.
Oh,
No,
Reaper on the
oh,
Nightmares in the
that's
field.
true.
oh yeah, because it
Oh!
would be a replay situation, right? Yeah, so yeah, that's
Yep,
actually right.
definitely.
This is the last game, by the way.
For
Come see Reaper on the Nightmare.
for which
now.
two? Oh, which
Reaper
two?
of the Nightmare is awesome. It's the only fusion monster that's an actual fusion monster.
Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon as
Which
well.
tools is that? That's
No, because it only has 4,500 attack.
that's Colgate and or is it not Colgate? Who?
Colgate versus Chris Horror.
Colgate.
Use the search function.
I'm
I
using
don't
the search
get Colgate.
function.
How do you spell it?
I can't see right now. I'm looking.
Oh, it's
again.
cap. It counts.
Filter
It should have
sort
counted
username
capitals.
Colgate.
I think that the filter might only work on who hosts it. So that's good to know. But yeah, Reaper is a pretty good card in this sort of situation. Just poking in directly
Seems so.
every turn. I mean,
So, Chris-
you might want to just use Reaper to attack a token, honestly. Just to
Oh, there we
potentially get
go.
in more damage later. Especially if your
Oh,
opponent
so
doesn't have any cards in hand.
I think this guy is right. You can't use cards like Mirror Force on a replay.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that makes sense.
Why
for
not?
It works.
It just because Konami says so.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense,
I've
right?
never.
Because the attack's been
Uh,
declared.
this
You're just
is,
changing the target, right?
This is right now. It's because UDE says so. But yeah, Konami says so is the usual answer.
Ooh, this is actually a very interesting set of cards here. I mean, I think you give them the Nyan Nyan, right? Because Reaper is dark.
Meat is so good.
Going for the Parshoth instead. Very interesting.
That set must be something.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be like TT, Mirror Force, or I mean, I don't even know. Because this is a really big swing for Colgate, bringing out that Parshoth there. Looks like we'll just go in and attack. Oh,
He allowed it.
So yeah, they will take 19 here. That is really rough for Chris Horus.
Oh, we have a
But he's got skill drains. so-
hello. Who joined? So
DK.
okay, yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, welcome back.
Welcome back
Again. Yeah, this is a really tough spot for Chris Horus 666. I don't honestly know how they're getting out of it. Because you know,
Graveyard Raigeki's been used. I
Yeah.
don't think they
But
have
they-
Dark Hole.
Wow.
yeah.
He plays Burn.
And
this is-
meta for
oh,
the
this-
Reaper to bring out Balter on top of it, like that is a really good play.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lad Russo 91. It
Yes.
looks like this is a light deck. And I think it's really cool. Like I mentioned Metamorphosis in my guide video as like something to look at with not many people experimenting with it, but I think that this deck, I mean, it shows how powerful it can be, right? Like the most
a
powerful
light
meta
deck.
targets are arguably the level 5s because Dark Balter is like insane. And
Ryu
also
Senshi.
level 6. Yeah, Ryu Senshi's level 6. You've got Soul Purity and Light. That's a level 6 right there. So you can go into that with meta as well.
It's
And
light metamorphosis.
yeah,
you can
so
call
that's
this.
it's a very cool strategy that Colgate brought here, and it looks like it's paying out for them. Cannon Soldier won't quite do it.
Rip.
I guess they might have like a change of heart as
Cool.
well. In which case, if you've got change of, I mean, you can't even change of heart here because Balter.
Yeah,
right?
you just pay 1K.
He
Yeah.
still has the life points to pay. It isn't game
Jeez.
yet, but
Oh,
we're
yeah.
getting close.
No, this is. I mean, this is about as close to game as you can get. But
Very,
yeah,
very important note
2,500.
because it's very, very weird. Dark Bolter is mandatory, which is very weird.
It's not mandatory. What do you mean?
Oh, is it not?
it is
it
mandatory.
says when a normal spell card is activated, negate the effect by paying
Negate the effect.
1,000.
No,
by paying 1,000.
Because that's a quick play effect. It's like an ignition effect, but with spell speed too. Like it's it's not mandatory because it's not a trigger.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not a trigger.
Yeah, even if it was,
It's a quick play.
Yeah, because if
Unless it's radically different than GOAT format, which I don't think it is.
it shouldn't
I
be.
doubt
cool.
it.
Yeah.
No, there's ceasefire.
What?
That cuts.
Ceasefire.
Yeah, but that won't
He
quite
just
do
killed
it.
himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's GG anyway.
Yeah. No, and
Colgate
it wouldn't
beat
have
both
actually
burn
changed
decks.
even if Cannon Soldier remained on field because they would have been 600 life points off. So yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that if
Yeah.
Chris R gave Colgate Nyan Nyan, this could have potentially been a bit of a different game here. But yeah, not
Yes,
much
it
you can
would
do
have.
about that. So yeah, I'm glad that we get to show this off. I think honestly, we probably should should just follow Colgate into the next game because I think that's a really sick deck there. So let's just report Colgate won. So
What did it
I
say?
got a question. So if GK Assailant attacks Reaper with Necrovalley on field, wouldn't it kill it and redeclare?
yes, I believe so. Because it would target.
Yeah.
Well,
That happened.
Dump
I was
Truck and
watching. I have the
Soul
replay
are-
up, and that didn't happen. So I was checking.
I mean, they might have just missed it, right? As
Yeah, that's
yeah, that's probably what happened.
Dump Truck and Soul are at the start of the game, pretty much.
Yeah, I think we might want to, instead of watching that, though, I think we might want to watch Colgate in action because, we caught the end of that game with the light deck, but I think that light deck's really sick. And we've also featured Soul and Dump Truck already, so...
it is pretty good. I did play against it.
Are they hosting or are they... Oh, we got a...
Barcode is dead right now.
2004 Chaos, so... yeah. So yeah, while we're waiting for that game to go up, we can definitely check out Soul and Dump Truck here. So I'll just type that in to the filter. There we go. So that time it worked with the other player. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why it wasn't working the first time. Yeah, what's CES asks, what's the top 4? Light, Gravekeepers, I think HandCon, and then we saw a little bit of Barcode. But I don't think we saw enough to actually see anything like too spicy.
It was just a standard hand control.
Okay, yeah. So it sounds like 2
One
hand
light
controls, a light Metamorphosis thing, and a Gravekeeper's deck. So that's going to be very exciting to see. It looks like this game here is actually, it's kind of iffy because with the Snatch Deal on the Tomato, if Dump Truck has a way to get over that, then they can, basically get another monster out to field. But Soul had to know that, so they've got something for that for sure.
Potentially. Also, he has Spear Soldier, so he can just beat over any Donzalugs.
Well, the point is that, like, no, you can't beat over Donzalug because you set Donzalug and then you're fine. But
no, Donzalug can float into Tomato or whatever.
You mean Tomato can float into Donzalug, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That is something you could do. But yeah, if you have a monster that can get over Tomato, Gemini Alpha is one that can get over Tomato. There it is. They're gonna hit in to that Tomato. Likely bring out another monster here.
This is bad.
You bring out Tomato?
You can bring out Zalug. Like, even if Spear Soldier gets over Zalug, if you do Zalug into Spy and mill some, that's
just crash over Spy.
Yeah. But yeah, Tomato's probably the better pick here. Yeah.
Milling is just bad.
Yeah. Well, it's not terrible this format. There's so much less you can do with it here. But like,
unless you're gonna deck someone out, I always think it's just bad.
Yeah, it's
like
definitely
you're just
not
making their deck
at this point.
It's really at its best when you're in Yata position, but other than that,
yeah. I mean, I will say,
it gets worse.
I do think if there are like not many risks to like if Serpent's already like out of the picture or something, it's not bad to mill because you could potentially hit a power card. You might not, but like, you don't really care about most stuff that goes to the graveyard there.
I mean, I think the thing is there's less power cards in their deck compared to not power cards. So if you're milling 2, you're more likely to get them 2-1 than to mill 1.
I think the odds work out that it does nothing.
Yeah, that's why I bring up Yata in this situation, and they have little to no cards.
Well, Yata, it probably doesn't matter because with Yata, if you've got the Yata loop going on, you're probably gonna win either way.
Yeah.
So
even if they drop Serpent,
there's no need to mill if you've got Yata. But
I actually had I was in the top 4 of the qualifier for GOAT format, and someone decided to mill 2. Milled my Dust Tornado and Kaiku and just drew me straight into like a nutted card to save the game. And I was like, thank God.
All right, that's actually good to keep in mind then, because I never thought of it that way, but I think you're absolutely right. And like, that anecdotal evidence like is also good potential support for that too. So
this is
if you hit a pot of greed, I would be crying though.
Yeah, but like as you say, you're more likely not to hit the pot of greed than otherwise.
Yeah.
So that's a very good point.
Colgate's on the Mirage.
Yep. And it looks like an early Soul Purity and Light, which makes sense if Thunder Dragon's in play already. MST Oh, it's ring, and they're going to pop their own soul. That's interesting.
They have call set.
Potentially. I mean, that's still a risky play, I think, because
It
like,
can only be special summoned by removing from play.
well, you can bring back Yan Yan with call as well.
That you can do.
But
No, you can bring back Soul Purity and Light.
No, you can't.
uh,
It can only
yeah,
be
it's
some
not-
special
it's
summoned.
not-
No,
first,
it would say it cannot be special summoned except by banishing.
no, it says this card can only be special summoned by.
Soul of Purity and Light, I don't think has ever been reprinted.
Oh, that's yeah.
PTSD.
If it's no problem solving card text, then it could potentially be brought back as well. So that's something we'd have to look into for the rulings there. I know I ran into that issue with I was playing a format with a friend that had like the Batteryman boss monster. I forget his name, but the one that
Oh,
you
no,
banished
that's
Batteryman
bad, that's
from
bad.
Grave. But yeah.
Oh
No, you just go into the deck and mill it.
Yeah, I understand. Confiscation. That's just
Yeah, confiscation is rough for Colgate because like now I mean, first off, if they had an out in hand, that out's gone.
Metamorphosis.
Yep, meta with the scapegoat tokens is also pretty funny.
By the way, I am updating that Dumb Shock is 1-0 against Sol.
Perfect. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah,
that makes
everything-
sense. Or yeah, because they were kind of Sol's in kind of a tough spot after that play into the tomato.
Yeah. He got
Barcode's
his
also a very good goat player,
That's
so I'm sure he's going to be bringing the heat in this one.
Oh yeah, I mean, I do feel like there are a lot of skills that cross over from Goat to Yata. Raigeki though is pretty good against this board. Oh, but the IO is also very good, and also it shuts off the Mirage draws as well. That's very, very good. Very, very good position from Barcode here. But yeah. Oh, on the topic of Goat, I didn't really fully finish the thought earlier, but yeah, I'm definitely not gonna skip Goat because I do think that like it's a very popular format. I want to show people what it's like, although I'm sure that they probably already know given that there are so many other resources on Goat.
Yeah.
But since there are so many resources on Goat, I probably won't spend like too much time in it in my own videos. Like
we need to just jump into Cyber as fast as possible.
Pretty much, because no one plays Cyber and no one plays the other ones. And I feel like my channel is more for like, highlighting formats that like no one plays, right?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Up to a point. At some point, we're going to go into formats that people do play.
Well, yeah, of course, and that's why I'm bringing this up now.
Yeah, I mean, how many formats do people really play? Like, there's not like Perfect Circle.
Yeah, even Perfect Circle, like not really many people.
I've never played Perfect Circle.
Yeah, it's not that many either. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Critter,
exactly.
Journey popular.
Yeah, there's like not that many that are like Edison, Goat.
You need to make a whole video about IO versus Mirage.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I was initially planning on releasing a rulings video. Is there like a space before the Colgate? I for some reason I can't search Colgate on DB to mess with them, but yeah, but
Barcode hosted.
No, for Barcode.
Yeah,
like letter I instead of Colgate. I mean,
yeah, I could search out Barcode, but it looks like they resolved the issue there themselves. But yeah, I was actually planning on releasing the Magician of Faith too for the double graceful there. Wow, that's
brutal. Brutal.
I mean, I wonder how much he's going to push this turn that he doesn't wait until his next turn when he gets a free one off Sinister.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing here is if they, do draw an out to this board and can hit him with the Reaper, then
they'll have nothing.
Yeah, if Colgate doesn't have an out to the Mirage, then they just lose their entire hand, and that means that you can probably win on the next turn.
Ooh. My boy Zambira.
There it is.
Jinzo as well. So it looks like
Jinzo.
Yeah, and attacking with the Lillian to the token, I think that makes the most sense here. Okay, actually, this will protect them from losing their entire hand here.
Ooh, what's he got? Ooh,
yeah,
potentially.
But it's a bit of a gamble. It's a bit of a gamble no matter what here.
He snipes MST.
That's why
that's bad.
Well, yeah. There are a couple things to snipe here that would be bad. Graceful. I mean, honestly,
Damn, he's
like,
got the gas.
yeah, but they need. Oh, they
There's
do
the
indeed have
MST.
the.
Oh yeah,
and draw.
this is over.
Oh yeah, that's intense.
I wouldn't say it's over.
By
That
the way,
Jinzo
B
is
sucks.
still
Nah,
B-Sox,
that-
Colgate is spelled with an I. C-O-I.
that
Oh, COI. Oh, okay, that makes
Yes.
sense. Thank you. Because I was wondering, I kept searching.
oh
changes.
shit.
Yeah, the only reason you change
Okay.
of heart here is if you change of heart, then fight a
Raigeki.
Raigeki, and then you potentially bring out Soul of Purity and Light
Gemini
and go
elf
for
per
game.
game.
Yeah.
yes.
There's the
That's the
Raigeki.
That-
And... Oh, and
Oh.
tributing the Jinzo for the Thundra.
What?
Why?
Why?
Get in with the
Yeah.
Jinzo first.
Yeah, minimum
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I think they should have just attacked it
I
with the
don't-
Jinzo first here.
I would just use Drageki. Saved it for the. Well, I guess because you had Sinister, anything he said, you probably don't want to change a heart.
Yeah.
Probably it doesn't have a
Exile
monster.
Force.
But you just yeah. You,
Or Zambira.
Yeah.
my
Yes.
boy
Not attacked
Zambira.
correctly.
Yeah, they're in a
Oh yeah, it
pretty
played
rough
double
position.
Zombire, I remember.
It's rough, but Zambira doesn't have to attack directly. Just has to exist.
Very unnecessary condition, by the way. I think it could just lose attack.
Honestly, I think
Nah,
Colgate honestly could have.
I think
No,
not being able to attack directly is pretty good balance.
Even
We wouldn't be
that
playing Gemini Elf if
oh,
Zambira could
Yeah.
attack directly.
well, this might be the end of the
Exactly.
game here. Okay, Scapegoat comes
Nope.
in. That will protect them another turn. But-
Hello, Iomine.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. How was your
We know
tournament
you're actually-
experience here?
Oh, this would be a juicy meta.
Yeah. You meta for Zambira, you get the 2100 attack instead of the 19, and then you're feeling good. The good
He
thing
has to
for
put pressure
Colgate
now.
is the Zambira is like dropping down every time it hits over a token. So it's not as big of
Yeah.
a threat, but
Zambira's effect is less deliberating here. Like
Debilitating.
yeah.
debilitating, yes. Like because last format you just summon a Gemini elf and you
Ooh,
either
Good
okay.
hit.
That's a good hit.
Oh,
I don't know
Yeah,
why
it's not
they
very
ordered it in
confusing.
this way though, because you
Yeah.
probably want to. Well, I guess
Io
Io's
is gone, right?
But
Io's gone.
I think he was worried about a jammer, maybe, or
or
something.
maybe a ring.
Oh,
Maybe a ring
oh.
as well.
Genzo.
No, going for Z.
No,
Yeah,
Zalug.
Zalug, 100%.
But he's got Yata in hand.
What?
Oh, it's over.
Yeah,
That's why
the end of the
Jinzo.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
no, it's probably the end of the game. So the one thing is if Barcode does not have a monster in deck that actually manages to kill Colgate.
Oh,
Yata
in
exists.
19.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Barcode
Yeah, no, I
has
know, but
times 2 is
Monster
58,
Reborn.
so like
there's
it was
oh yeah, Monster
52.
Reborn's left, and that will be the end of the game. Yeah, but
Yeah,
the reason I
this
brought
is-
that
Why
up
did he?
is because Barcode had 19 turns to actually draw something that would kill Colgate off through the Yata loop. So,
But did
Yeah,
I
I
miss
feel like-
something? Why did he go for Zalug?
Yeah.
I think
Snipe
just to
Yata.
Misplay.
pitch, to pitch a card, but Jinzo probably
Yeah,
would have been the
this
better
is-
choice there. I think.
Yeah, because Yata doesn't get over Genzo.
It
Yeah.
would have been a
Yeah.
one-turn clock there.
It
But
well, it would have
I
been a
can't
one-turn clock, but
understand the
also
gritty
it
play.
would have shut off the back row, which is very
Yes,
important.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He played
I feel like
right.
Colgate could have done something different. Like he went from being up like if he had just used Regeki break, he would have been up like 3-1 in cards, and somehow he like
Also,
was ended up behind.
Also, if he had attacked with Jinzo the first time instead of tributing over for Thunder Dragon attacking in, then
Mhm.
I think Barcode would have
Then
lost this
reborn
turn because
Jinzo
he
would've
reborn the
killed.
Jinzo
Yeah.
again, and that's the end of the game, right? Because
Yeah.
Barcode had 20
Well, I
Dump
think
Truck
it
and Soul. Dump Truck and Soul are currently still on game 2,
Okay.
but King Tiger Wanghu's on Soul side of the field. So
That's a pretty good card, but it's,
and Dark Hole. Dark
Yeah.
Hole just cleared it.
well, that does clear
Never
it.
mind.
But hopefully we get to
Well,
see a
let's
bit more
see.
of the metamorphosis side of Colgate's deck here.
I want to
Thunder
see a
Dragon
Zambira
still
get sucked up.
strong.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
Yep.
Thousand Eyed Restrict is such an interesting card in this format because there's no like Tsukiyomi, so you can't really do the broken stuff that you can later on in the game with it.
Well, you can't do the Souk Luke in this format because I think
Yeah.
they don't change if you change a monster's battle position with Book of Moon in this format, you can't flip it back up the same turn.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah,
Um,
here comes in
so-
my mind. You should make a video at the GOAT format point where like you distinguish because like the early GOAT format had still the old ruling about changing battle position.
that was June 2005, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
With
Exactly.
how the formats evolved, though, it doesn't matter because Chaos Turbo and Warrior would
Yeah,
still
would
be the
just
best decks.
Smoke you
But-
with KO Turbo.
Yeah.
But you guys, do you remember the ruling that I found
The
yesterday?
clock is
Or was
playing.
it
Oh, about Guardian
in the
Sphinx? Yeah,
Yes.
that's a good
I
point.
Yeah.
thought that applied to Book of Moon as well if it was in defense.
right? You
Yeah.
just have to put Tear into defense mode, then you can suck Book of Moon and flip summon.
Yeah, but
I did that in my game too with Gravekeeper's Curse.
the issue is that it's
I
That's
not.
how I
summoned it.
understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The issue is it's not repeatable
Oh,
long term.
So
Yes,
the
of
ruling
course.
is
It's
you can only
the
change
same
battle
as it should
position
look. Yeah.
once per turn.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
only change the battle
that's the
position.
ruling.
So yeah, if it is in
Manually.
defense already, then you're still good. Raigeki break on the Zamira is pretty
Yeah.
good there.
And Raigeki break making I think Thunder Dragon is stronger this format than last because of Raigeki break.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
And the hand rip cards.
yeah,
Like Thunder Dragon is a good metamorphosis target for Dark Bolter.
that as well. Yeah, and yeah, I mean that pops up in GOAT format all the time too. Like,
Do we have Fiend? What is it? Fiend Skull Dragon?
yep, Fiend Skull Dragon is
Yes.
also out.
It's
so
just not as good.
yeah, but it's still a
Well,
decent.
Well, if you're
Decent
afraid of
nine.
dying to ring, if you think you're gonna die to ring, it's good.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Those are three. Those
but
three are
just-
some of the coolest fusion monsters ever. Did.
Fiend Skull
It's
Dragon.
also
gets
better against
outscaled by Dark
Gravekeepers.
Bolter.
Yeah, Fiend Skull Dragon is definitely a card that you want to have in your extra deck. I'm really sad that like the only way you can play an unlimited fusion deck is in GOAT format specifically on Dueling Book.
Yeah,
Because yeah, I mean ultimately in like this format it doesn't really matter because like you know
There's
there
not
are only a
plenty
limited
good
amount of
ones,
fusion
and there's
monsters
no
you can wanna
chaos.
go. Yeah, and there's no
No,
chaos. as
there's no
well.
magical scientist.
Yeah, so
Oh yeah.
but
Did
that's
you guys
coming
see
in the next format.
Did you guys see the Capital G video about the people who brought like 1,000 card deck?
yeah.
And, like, before
Oh.
their deck limits, and they brought shuffle cards. Like there was no win condition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. That was the
lose condition.
2222 deck, I believe. Shout out to
There-
Yomi Frog. That's the guy who did it.
Oh,
Their
and-
lose condition was they
Yep, there's
summon
the end of the
Yellow
game.
Gadget, and they're like, you can't shuffle your deck, you lose.
Wow. But even though Colgate lost this game, I mean, this was still a
they really
great
won.
showing for the deck. I mean, as we talked about in game one, they could have
So
won.
lost.
Okay, so are we
Right,
going
right.
to finals right now?
Ooh,
Dumb truck
we are?
win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like the idea of Soul of Purity and Light because it's
Jinzo.
one of the only special summons. But Thunder Nian seems terrible.
Yeah, but I think that there's still potential there. I mean, Thunder Dragon, that's a light engrave. There aren't many good light targets for Shining Angel, unfortunately, which is
Yeah.
kind of rough.
Only
Maybe the way to go
Jalgan.
is to you could run a bunch of Book of Moons, and then you could turn your faiths on when you search them. But
Yeah.
that's not great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Viper
did I just hear someone diss Thunder Nyanya?
Yes.
Yes,
I-
you did.
It's literally just
Full-throatedly.
Gemini Elf and Light Beast.
Okay, but hear me out.
Hear me
I-
out. She's waifu.
The only
I know.
reason I won my second set actually was because I was able to send 2 Soul of Purity and Light and 3 Thunder Nyanyan from my painful choice, which gave me just enough damage either way.
Oh wow. So actually,
Yeah, it was very cool.
I guess it can come
Duh.
up then.
Yeah, I always love
honestly,
the argument.
The Shining Angel is actually like more underwhelming than the Nyanyan. I will say that because I just don't have a good
always-
target for it.
I
I
always
think it
just
can
love
only-
when people are.
It can go
Yeah.
into Jowgen, Banisher of Radiance or whatever.
Banisher
Yeah.
of the Light.
And light.
Banisher of the Light, and then there's what's a light? Is it Mass Sorcerer? Or
No, that's a
it's White
dark.
Magic.
Mass-
Hat.
No.
You could do White Magical Hat,
Yeah.
which is a card you can certainly choose to play.
Yep, where's Zaylu?
Shining-
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
White Magical Hat won't really see play again until Chaos, potentially. Because
Yeah,
it's a
Even
light
then,
monster.
Even then, it's like.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna see play then. You're just gonna run
Yeah.
Angels and
I-
Warrior. I mean,
I
now
mean,
they'll probably run Thunder
The
Dragon.
winner
Yeah.
of Battle City Amsterdam, he was main decking double white magical hat and one mask sorcerer.
That's based.
Wow.
We're just playing critter format out here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. It's so fun.
So like here's the thing. I actually was playing Jowgen, and then I had a game where I had a Jowgen in my
Oh.
hand, and I just needed like a monster that wasn't Jowgen, and Jowgen just I don't know. He could come up. I mean, he could just kill anything that's special summoned. There's just not a lot. You know, it's just like
Yeah.
Monster Reborn maybe.
Yeah, it's not the biggest thing. I mean, the mirror match Jowgen
Yeah.
seems insane, right? Because you get rid of all your
Yeah.
opponent's meta stuff as well.
I'm hoping that that's the case. Right? People start playing light aggro, and then I'll just side in Jowgen.
Yeah.
Colgate.
But I think you definitely
Your
did.
burn hell with me wasn't that bad.
But
No, okay, it wasn't that bad with you. And then I was like, okay, I'm done with blah. It was Gravekeeper burn, that's fine. And then I go to set 2, and then Bird King flips up Toll, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be this kind of night.
just get all the burn matchups. Yeah.
Yeah,
And he's the only one who prepared for it. I'm pretty sure.
I play Ever Panda decks in God format
Hmm.
here in Italy. Regionals, first place in Rimini regionals, and yeah, I love so much Barn decks, and I love so much Tolls and the Chain Energy, best card of the entire.
Oh, I know you do, because you had 2 chain energies and a Toll, and I cried.
When you get
Yeah,
up, yeah.
it's very powerful. This card.
I felt like I was like 5 formats back. I was like, dang, this is taking me back, bro.
Yeah, this treasure
At least
format
I
will
beat him
win.
with Magic Cylinder.
Yeah, treasure format all over again, baby. It never changed.
Zombira doing his job.
Oh,
It was
And the
treasure
We
format
both-
all along.
Yeah. Burn King and I both played Chain Energy.
Yeah.
Chain Energy with Giant Tornado is the best combo. It's very
Ooh,
strong.
Dark Hole here.
Man, feels really bad to burn the call like that.
Oh, but you got Yata.
Oh no.
So,
Oh no.
I mean, that's pretty
GG?
good. I mean, I feel like
GG.
Barcode probably maybe drew into Yata this turn, or drew into Darkholm, was just like, well, you know, that's what it is.
Oh no, he had a monster. Never
yeah,
mind.
but if Barcode is a
I
way
mean,
to
that
clear
could
that,
still be game though, depending.
Yeah.
Huge advantage lead.
Nobleman,
Yeah.
Raigeki.
Definitely.
Oh, fun
Yeah.
fun thing I noticed. So
the resource grind of
Barcode
this
briefly
format.
paused in
Gosh.
standby phase. And that is actually something you have to start doing this format because Dust Shoot is actually legal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I took myself back to my Edison days. I was
Wow.
like, gotta
Yeah.
pause in the standby just in case.
This
Yeah.
dude doesn't
Yeah.
stop luck stacking.
Oh, and that will be the end of the game
Gosh.
probably. And yep,
Ooh.
that's the end of the game.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
Though in this format, well, Trap Dust Shoot can be good. It's like it's being pushed down right now.
Yeah, it's not really.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, there's
confiscation,
3
duo.
cards that are namely better than it.
Yeah, because
Better in
it's
every
like,
way.
And they're
Okay, no.
All
There
at
is
once.
one advantage to Trap Dust Shoot, and that's the fact that you get to see what your opponent draws.
well,
But that's
the
like
nice
the
thing,
only thing.
The nice thing as well is it's sort of anti Mirage of Nightmare tech, but you can't take the outs to Mirage of Nightmare out of your opponent's hand. So it's kind of less good.
If
in
you're
that way.
afraid,
like
Yeah.
if you were afraid of last turn, also it's better because they'll go like Trunade and you'll just chain Dust Shoot.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah, Grenade just treated, or
also
it's a powerful combo.
yeah. For Trap Dust Shoot, I just wait until Mind Crush gets released.
This dude
Then
doesn't
they'll-
stop stacking.
I mean, that's a lot of
Jeez.
these old DM formats, and like, you know,
Oh,
I feel like
Jinzo.
you reach a certain like sort of number of just insanely broken cards, right? That everyone can just play at
Yeah.
one copy each, and eventually you're going to just draw into them, right?
Or sometimes at
Yeah.
3 copies. Hello, Metamorphosis.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, everyone's
Metamorphosis
gonna
isn't
be
that bad right now.
everyone's
it's like
gonna
a
be
tier
so
2, tier-
happy.
Oh.
Sorry,
No, go for
You were
it.
going
Yeah.
Sorry, it's like
Go for it.
sorry.
As
go
everyone's
for it.
gonna
I'll
be
say
so
what I say
happy when
next.
Confiscation and Forceful Century are banned, and then they're gonna be like, "Oh shit, 3 Trap Dust Shoot."
Yeah.
Oh no, duo, then confiscation again. But by that
And-
point, Mind Crush and Trap Dust Shoot are going to be playable in the main deck at 3 each. Disgusting.
Yeah, but I would probably
Basically,
not
we're
even-
just never leaving hand rip format.
Yeah.
It's
And
just
I
not
would
gonna
just
happen.
not play
Oh,
Mind Crush.
we'll
though.
leave it
Yeah,
once
Mind
Trap
Crush is
Dust
kinda
Shoot goes to
iffier.
1.
But I do think that
Yeah.
like, you know, so many people are against a lot of these formats because of the hand rip cards. And it sort of reminds me in a way that like a lot of people are like, oh, Goat has the Trinity. Like I hate the Trinity. I'm not going to play Goat, right? But I feel like you play a bunch of games in these formats,
Swear
you
to
actually
God, if
see that
someone's
it's
yelling.
like a lot better than you might expect. Oftentimes these cards take skill to actually utilize to their fullest potential. And they actually make games like a lot more interesting, in my opinion. Like for instance,
Yeah.
you know, interacting with Witch and Sangan, right? Yeah, the hand rips are very good.
Oh,
And oh wow.
uh-oh. Here we go.
Oh,
Oh my God.
is this another
Yata.
Yata play?
Oh,
Yata.
we just have it.
I
All
mean,
right.
this might not be complete game with Yata because Barcode would still need a way to clear the Sangan.
I think he doesn't
Reborn
even
would
have
clear
it.
the
got.
Sangan, but
Oh,
Sangan's
he's
still
got.
a
Yata?
monster.
Okay.
Just going
I
for
guess you don't
percent.
need Yata if you just have a big ass android.
Yeah,
No,
Yeah.
this
I mean,
would have been a
not bad,
Gonzalug.
honestly.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's T-set
Everyone's
pass.
got a main deck. Jinx
God, I
Kappa,
hate Fiber Jar.
Yeah.
Kappa.
Well,
Gosh.
it's interesting because in a situation like this, it's great as a comeback card, right? It's a big equalizer. So I do really
Yeah.
like it for that reason. Even though it is like very degenerate in certain situations.
Yeah,
I know.
There's the Sangan.
I feel like this is an unpopular opinion, but I think Mirage and Nightmare is the craziest card like in this format. I'm not gonna
Oh,
lie.
yeah, I
The
mean, we've been
weirdest.
seeing it.
It's
It is so
Yeah.
interesting. It's a very.
it's not
fascinating card, yeah.
unpopular at all. This
I'm
Yeah.
already
Mirage of
hating
Nightmare
it, actually.
is
Second
like
most degenerate card after Pot of
It's
Thief.
so
Yeah.
crazy. Like it is
Yeah.
insane.
It's wild.
I wanna
I
see-
just lost my
yeah,
game.
it's a little balanced by
Oh,
They
the
just
fact
speaking
decided
that
to
of,
print
speaking
it.
of,
Speak of the
They
devil.
decided to print
Yeah,
draw
oh,
4
oh,
on a
no.
card.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
okay,
gotta
well.
do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
What was I
because
saying?
if there's one thing to get Dump Truck back in the game, it's Mirage, right?
Well,
Yes.
that that would have
Yeah.
been a nice one.
I've
It
always
would've,
wondered, do you
yeah.
think when they printed Mirage of Nightmare, they were like, oh, this card's not that good because you have to discard everything?
I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
that's-
they
Mirage
absolutely
is
didn't understand.
pretty
I-
crazy. It just
yeah.
I'm
Cannot
trying to say
imagine.
something though. Yeah,
I mean,
I cannot
even, like,
imagine.
yeah.
that's part of
Well,
the fun
me
thing
too.
about early Yu-Gi-Oh versus early Magic is that like with Magic, like Magic was a game made by like a mathematician, right? Like they were putting a lot of like theory
Really?
into that
Ooh,
as to like, you know,
that's big.
how exactly to balance the game and things like that. Yu-Gi-Oh was a game made by, you know, a manga author
By
who
Sung-
never thought it would actually be a game, you know?
Yeah.
And then taken over by a company who was trying to take advantage of a boom, a phenomenon,
TC's
and
pretty
didn't
good.
give a damn
Did you
I-
guys
I-
ever
I-
hear
I-
the
about
Double
story?
anything.
Serpent, I love it.
Yeah.
I
for a
love it.
year.
Did y'all hear about the story about the riot in
Bradley.
Japan?
Yes,
Hello.
for Exodia.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I mentioned it last
I
week
mentioned
when I
it
was trying
last
to talk
time.
about Exodia existing in LOB.
Can we just talk about the riot in Japan every single week?
Can we
Oh,
not?
do you? Okay.
It is
If
very
Exodia-
much like
It's a fascinating
it was
game,
relevant
that's for
last week.
Sure.
Uh,
But
Yeah.
Oh, the Donzalug.
yep, for the TT here. Yep, Double
Okay,
Serpent's getting
one
sent
very
straight
important.
again. Oh,
This is very interesting here. I actually have like this locals has proven the power of torrential. It's so crazy.
oh, it's just
Oh, it's
really
Yeah.
absurd.
It's
I thought it was
Yeah.
limited
Torrential's-
immediately.
Yeah, Torrential's powerful, but the next format is going to drop a bit.
I mean,
Well,
the
how?
greatness of torrential is that, you know, you out the Yata lock, you out the hand control cards, things like that. And you know, you kind of have to do it, right? You gotta have TT because
Yeah.
even if you want to go trap hole, like trap hole can't deal with Yata, it can't deal with Lily, it can't deal with
also-
so many
Yeah.
powerful cards.
Because magical scientist again.
I haven't
Mocking
seen
the
Trapple
Serpent.
in so long.
That's huge.
yeah.
So I'm waiting. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward
Definitely
to.
been,
Is
like,
it
the box-
IOC?
IOC
Oh, go
for which one?
Is it IOC format with 3D mock?
Oh yeah, that
I
does
And
come out
3
nice.
CED.
Oh,
I
With
cannot
Three
wait.
Reasoning
Yeah,
Gate,
that's-
3 Monster Gate, 3 Last Will.
We're
Monster
gonna-
Gate isn't there. No.
Oh wait,
ASC.
reasoning is
Monster Gate
like
ASC, yeah. But this is
Yeah, but-
can I just talk about how like this game, you know, in the beginning, it seemed so much in Barcode's favor. Like I
Yeah.
mean, they just
Oh,
seem
yeah.
so in control, but it sort of turned around completely, and that sort of shows, in my mind, part of the beauty of these GM formats, in that there's so many ways to like come back, and it's like it's always
Mirror
back and
Force.
forth.
Oh,
Not
Bottom
always,
three
but
It
duos
was
will
really
do that.
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
yeah,
Despite the
Can't
hand
lie,
rips,
yo.
there's a lot of back and forth.
yeah.
Yeah.
Are we
But hand rips
playing?
are starting to get more degenerate now because starting from Fiber, we have Fiber Jar and Yata. But
Well, Fiber Jar's not a hand
it's
rip,
not-
but yeah.
I know I'm saying Fiber Jar is the reason for the degeneracy. I'm just saying.
Oh, Fiber Jar.
It's
like,
actually
counted
quite
them.
funny how I actually love how Fiber Jar is like the anti-card to Empty Jar.
Yeah,
If you think about it, it's really funny.
you can't play it in empty
Yes.
jar.
More like it's the anti-card to Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yes, you
Well, it's-
can.
Ooh.
No, but no,
You're
no,
just-
it's the
Well,
it's the
so
perfect card for
the
Yu-Gi-Oh because it
version-
wants you to play more Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, the version
Well,
that
I
you're
think
talking
in-
about, blah, is you use things like Kaiku to banish your opponent's graveyard, and then you Fiber Jar things back, and so it's a slow war of attrition. and
Comedian.
things. But it's
It's just
Well, the-
40 minutes of disgustingness.
it's
They
generally
lose.
not the best in my opinion, because like there's no way you're actually lasting that long and not dying for the most
By the
part.
way, everyone, thank you for not playing Kaiku anymore. I really appreciate it. Me and my graveyard really
I
appreciate
mean,
it.
Soul played
Yeah.
Kaiku. We saw that pop up a couple
Oh
games.
yeah, no, but I sided though because
Yeah.
like if
Yeah.
you sort of see the idea, basically it's like when at least if I'm going second, I have the feeling they're gonna probably try and side stuff to counter Royal Tribute. So just making the deck basically play like a I don't know, it's like a good stuff or beatdown type of strategy. I felt like worked pretty well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and we
So
saw
that's
that come
sort
up
of
too.
my thing, but
Like,
Yeah.
Dark Hole.
I mean,
here
early Gravekeepers is oh
Wow.
my god, that is the
Call?
wildest dark hole of all
That's-
time.
I mean, that
But
was
it-
very
Call?
good. It hit a
we
monster.
take it.
Oh,
We
yeah.
take it.
And then I guess you
It
get back
cleared the
Serpent
Magician of
next
Faith.
standby phase. So
yeah.
uh,
No, it was really
it's-
no that with that dark hole play. I was really wanting to do it, but I'm like, I have a spy. I want to use spy
Stanyan's pretty
so
good.
badly. So I was just I was waiting for them to do
Scapegoat's
at least
good, though,
something
too.
to try to get rid of it.
So
Yeah.
one thing that we have to consider here as well is Barcode has 9 cards in deck. So this could potentially
yeah.
go 2 deck out. Although they've also got a
Yeah.
Raigeki. So like Raigeki will
One of
make things a
them-
bit more complicated, but
Hmm.
One of them's also Imperial Order.
See, now is the
So-
time for the Dawn Mill.
yeah. When you're this close, yeah. You gotta.
Yeah, but and also Yata hasn't been okay.
Well, there's
hello,
Yata. Yeah. I mean, here just to poke
Oh,
in,
pretty poke.
like that's not bad.
Ooh.
But
Mirror Force.
yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
mandatory.
You need to search.
Yeah,
Roy-
mandatory.
Royal decree when.
Yeah. Well, Magician of Faith
Actually, not
here
that far
is
from
really
now.
good
TCG
because,
Yata.
Monster Reborn
What
or
the-
something.
That's so
So
funny.
yeah, Royal Decree comes in Tournament Pack 4, which would be a bit later.
Oh yeah, that is Yata. That's funny.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, honestly,
Somewhat,
I think
like,
Decree may have
The second
like,
half of
obviously it's
Yata.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that set could be
honestly, I don't-
pretty good here.
Oh god.
yeah.
He's a
could.
magician of
Yeah.
faith.
I was just thinking that.
Oh,
Like-
off the top.
What
Raigeki.
a top deck.
Oh yeah, the set is just Serpent. I forgot.
We just do not like Magician of Faith around here. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually crazy. Like, I mean,
Look at
here,
the graveyard.
Dump Truck knew it was Magician of Faith, but the Dark Hole play was,
What
Is
a-
it even worth poking in for 300?
yeah,
Yeah, I
guess
honestly,
if you
probably
draw-
not.
Hey, the
Kaiku
7
or-
turn clock. 7 turn clock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Elf
you gotta
kills
like,
now.
get in your
It
damage.
seems
you
like
know?
win condition is easy for like deck out. Like
Yeah.
you don't want to put open more damage for yourself.
Well,
Hey,
I mean,
you
unless
know
they-
what? It's working
you
right
look-
now, though.
The one thing I could
Yeah.
Ring
It
of
is-
potentially see
Destruction.
is if they
Ring
want
of
to play
Destruction
around-
hasn't been
no.
played yet.
Okay, wait.
By
Do we
Dump Truck.
have any confirmation that there are monsters left in Barcode's deck?
I don't think so at this point. Like,
5,
No
6,
tomatoes,
7,
maybe
8,
like a
9, 10, 11,
Oh, well,
12,
There's
13,
Call the Haunted.
13 are gone.
Genzo?
call. And
MST
MST has
call.
to be there. Yeah.
Oh,
Io.
yeah.
Io.
Order.
Yeah.
Oh,
MST, second MST.
Us, Tornado?
2100
Oh.
incoming.
And here's what you were talking about with the now the path has potentially opened up for Barcode here.
I
There's
know
not
that
enough
they
time.
wait for Imperial Order.
You can just set Serpent forever.
Yeah, I mean if
Raigeki
Barcode has
hasn't been
Raigeki
played yet.
here, That's also
Yeah.
pretty good. But they can also save it for next turn. Now that if they just hit into Serpent this turn, Raigeki next turn.
Yeah. No, maybe there's a Book of Moon, and so then afterwards they'll draw into Metamorphosis and go Thousand Eyes, right? You know?
It could be.
Does Imperial still need to pay for its maintenance with Jinzo?
Nope, not at this
No.
point in the game's history.
No, not at this
Jeez.
point.
Which is
Yeah.
kind of a silly ruling in my opinion. But
Yeah, upper deck was on one.
yeah.
That face when
That was
maintenance costs
actually-
aren't maintenance costs.
That was that was actually OCG Konami.
Oh, okay.
No. But either way, I mean it's
Them
very
two, then.
silly ruling. But yeah, I don't know how what's Dump Truck got left to stop
Yeah.
this?
No, come on.
Raigeki
Where's
Book
the
of Moon.
I mean they might
Actually,
have
yeah,
another
Raigeki just
scapegoat.
killed it.
They might have another scapegoat, honestly.
Oh, another scapegoat would be rough. That would probably be game.
Yeah, there's the
Raigeki.
Raigeki.
There are
yeah.
there's like 3 cards that exist in the game right now that actually.
Yeah,
Oh,
that would be
And
in
that's
game. I
it.
mean, I will say, given that set, this was probably over either way, right? Because Barcode has the read that the set is Serpent, or you've got to have that read at least if you want to win with 2 cards left in deck. And then you just hit over that with the monster and then attack indirectly with Jinzo. So
Was this winners finals?
this was indeed winners finals. So
It
that
was.
will be the end of the
So-
game. Awesome gameplay here. Very cool and very great games from I think all players involved. Like we caught some really good ones on camera tonight, and I hope this is
There
sort of
was
like
no winners
shown
or
people.
losers
how-
final though.
Well, yeah, this is the
Just to
finals of the
say.
winners, so yeah, we get what you mean.
Yeah, it's the finals in general. Yeah.
But yeah, what an insane set of games that we got on camera here. And I'm happy to have you all in the chat here to sort of show off how good this tournament was and how good Yata format is as well. I think that was awesome.
this is not a tier 0 format, by the way. I don't think there's
It's
just a lot of
Yeah.
good decks you can play.
Yeah.
Well, in
It's
the end,
hopefully a
it grew up.
tier 1 deck format at worst.
Yeah, I think it's tier
Yeah.
1. I do
fine
think
with
that
that, yeah.
it is a very skill intensive format though. Because we were talking throughout the commentary, and there were multiple different plays that people could do at multiple different junctures, and walking back some of the plays afterwards, we were like, if they had actually done this, they might have actually won the game. And that happened multiple times, so it's it really is a
It
format.
determined the final.
Yeah, it did. It was. I mean, I think
Fair
that
enough, yeah.
ultimately this still would have. I think the Barcode would have won that game either way because they could have just attacked over the monster, attacked over Serpent with their other monster. But it was the correct play to keep the Serpent set, I think, and it's it was just. I'm really excited for the tournament coming up, and I really hope that we get a lot of people playing because. I think that was just so sick.
Honestly, we could have probably pushed the tournament another week to let people explore more. But
Well, I didn't want the tournament to go
Well,
too
we're gonna have
late
a tournament
into the
next
month.
week.
Nah, I'm done exploring. Light best deck, baby.
Yeah,
that deck
yeah,
might actually have
yeah.
something.
yeah, we will be
Yeah, no, that
exploring.
light deck was really interesting.
Oh yeah, and we were actually watching. And
I don't need to experiment. I'm coming with the tier 0 deck.
oh yeah, the tier 0 deck of
No,
Gravekeepers.
bring the real goat. Bring
Tier
the-
0 Fushio Richie deck.
Yeah,
go.
Fushio
Exactly.
Richie.
Yeah,
The zombies
that's
must
true.
rise
Yeah,
up.
Yeah.
But yeah,
My
no,
return
ridiculous.
zombie is going to be getting y'all.
Bring the actual
No.
though. Obviously, Yata is the real goat format, so obviously
Oh, yeah.
go control best deck. Obviously.
well, I do think it's I think
Oh.
there is a lot of appeal for people who like the skill intensity of Goat. I think Yata also has a lot of that skill
Yeah.
intensity. I mean, I'm not a
Yata
top Goat
also
player by any
feels-
means. I've just dipped my toes into that format, but
He sucks. Best good player in the world.
it's definitely not bad.
Ironically, if you ignore hand control, this also kind of feels like Edison. There's so many good, strong decks.
Well, yeah, in some ways, yeah, in that way, yeah. But I do
Yeah.
think that hand control is a very centralizing deck in the meta, and unlike Edison,
That's
there
what I'm
aren't as
saying, if
many
you ignore it.
combos.
Yeah.
It's much more
And
ground
also,
driven.
even the other decks have their own form of hand control. Like Gravekeepers has freaking Royal Tribute.
yeah,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
can be
I
very
don't
good.
consider Royal Tribute as good here as it's going to
Yeah.
be in the
Yeah.
Star Strike format. But
Yeah,
A lot of
the
the
more
decks are, like,
monsters
15
people play,
monsters.
the better it becomes. Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
I mean, Colgate actually got very good royal tribute from me. Like playing with the
I've literally royal tributed Kaladi for like three twice, and
If
every
you could
other
run
time
3
I've activated it,
the
I
fun
missed.
fact, I play 14 monsters in my deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
when I played back then.
The thing is,
If you run
though,
3 upstart, if you could run 3 upstart, it would be better.
yeah,
Yeah.
you need more consistency
Yeah.
to get
I'm
to
sure
it.
we will.
Also, I do think honestly,
Unfortunately,
I've been royal tributed in some of the games that I've played, in my videos, and honestly, I think that in this format you can recover from it. Like, it's definitely not the end of the game.
Yeah.
Because it takes
Oh
a while
no,
to
you
kill
hit my
these.
power
Sangan.
cards.
I mean,
are
I
just-
literally royal tributed B-Sox in the video like 3 times, and it was all for just hand information. I went
Yeah.
minus every single time. Actually, no, I did take
Yeah,
one
The
monster. I felt
first
really
one
good
you
about it.
did was, I think you hit 2
You took
monsters.
2, I think.
But yeah, and that the hand knowledge is good, but like, I don't know, royal tribute feels like a little bit underwhelming in this format compared to what it will eventually be. And I think
Yeah.
that's a good thing.
It
Yeah,
feels
like-
kind of like Trap Dust Shoot. Like you kind of gotta open it.
Yeah. Well,
Pretty much.
I think Trap Dust Shoot would be very
And
interesting
even-
to experiment with, but
Actually, you know what? I think there are a few decks though that it is better against. Theoretically, like for example, light aggro does play more monsters. I feel like than a lot of other decks.
And
That's
more
true.
bricky monsters like Soul that are getting stuck in their hand.
yeah.
Nah,
But if
Soul's
you can
never a
fuel it with
brick.
the other monsters, that's pretty good. Coco Valsalando from the
I-
YouTube chat actually brings up a good point that we can talk about. They say the sad part of Yata format is that going first means a lot. And I think that is definitely true, which, is sort of a downside of a lot of like DM era formats, I think.
It's an
I feel like that's just been
axiom.
like
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh! in
It's an
general. It's
axiom.
just, like, going
Not
I mean,
just
it's
a
not-
DM.
Yeah.
It's gonna until they ban Trap Dust Shoot basically, and until it goes to 1, like every format has that degenerate hand rips that are much better on turn 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I mean,
And it's like
Treasure-
so much of it is
It
and there's so
just
much
gets
just
worse.
setting.
Yeah.
yeah.
It just gets worse and worse.
Yeah. But I mean,
they had to change the rules so going first is a -1.
and even then,
I
Yeah.
think the
Even-
reality of it is going
Those
first
two
in
things
Yu-Gi-Oh has
are
always
happening.
been broken. It just depends how in what scenario it's broken. It could
Yeah.
be getting hand ripped. It could be facing a board of 12 negates.
yeah, it also depends
Heard they
on,
made
I think it also depends on the format too. Like there are definitely formats where it's definitely less of a thing than others because you
when
can
they, like
recover.
Edison format, they've done like stats on the War League, and like
Hmm.
62% of the time, if you go first, you just win.
Oh wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh.
I've
But
said
Go-
it before. It's like early Yu-Gi-Oh is a 60-40 ratio usually.
Yeah,
So going
going
first.
first is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Although I
you
think
have a
you
I
can't
mean, I'm-
necessarily
chance to win.
you can't necessarily generalize the Edison results to all formats, but I do think that like they do speak
Yeah.
like even in one of the most balanced formats in people's minds, right?
Yeah.
Like in the game's history, it still pays to go first, and it still has a noticeable difference.
I think it's because it's when you are able to draw first, which is up until like 2014 or something, right? I think
15.
that free plus
Basically
15. Oh,
05
that's
is when it
crazy.
started,
Yeah.
right?
And so that is crazy because you just get like a free +1 just by winning the coin toss. And then later on, it just becomes like going first is better because then you get to build a board, and your opponent can't really do
Where
much.
like basically decks
It
are
wasn't
able to
always.
gain a ton of advantage turn 1 that going quote unquote minus from
Yeah.
losing a draw.
It
doesn't
wasn't
matter.
always that way though. Like this is going back to the OCG, but in the OCG, the official rules and expert rules didn't have a first turn
The
draw.
junior format, let's go.
Yeah, junior
Yeah.
journey.
That's what we
dude.
really.
Okay,
We need
to be
do
fair,
some OCG.
junior format did
Yeah, well-
actually resolve that issue before we even got the actual game. It was crazy.
Yeah, junior journey.
It
is
was
a
a
pretty cool series,
junior
but-
format comes
It's
from
fun.
the 1999 period. Like in 2000, at the start of Series
Yes.
2, they implemented the first turn draw then.
Yeah. But yeah, unfortunately on this channel, because there's already so much to cover in the TCG, I'm not planning on covering the OCG.
We're
anytime
not doing
soon.
junior.
It's
Yeah,
No,
not
I'll
junior
have to
journey.
start
bringing up when
unfortunately.
it's
No
valuable.
Battle City,
I mean,
no
if
Battle
like,
City
listen, I'd
tournament, man,
happily
come
go
on.
on junior journey, if MBT or RJ, wants me there. But unfortunately on this channel, we won't be exploring that. And also,
I'll have to start my own channel.
yeah,
I'll
no,
make
I
the
There are
OCG channel.
cards.
I think that it
Yeah,
is
There are
definitely,
cards.
Do you want-
something
they're
that
like
people
in
would
the
be
bottom
interested
of
in.
the-
And,
Yeah.
I'd also be
Play
interested in
some-
seeing it. It's just, I don't have enough time in the day, to
Yeah,
actually do
no.
it.
I was just
Also,
I've been
if we start
speculating it would be
delving,
a fun thing to do.
if we
Yeah,
start
no,
delving into other formats, we are literally going to get to Edison in 2030.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I've been trying to,
Junior format's an OCG thing.
yeah, no,
Like
no, I know,
Mystical
but-
Knight of Jackal, which we
Yeah.
got,
Yeah.
is basically a junior format card.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's I do want to keep this going at a relatively quick pace. I still need to balance that exactly. It's definitely something that I have to adjust as I go along.
Yeah.
But I'm
I
trying.
I think it's
to
been a
do it-
very smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think it's a very
Unfortunately-
smart call to like lower the amount of time spent in like the hypothetical formats.
Yeah. I know
Yeah,
they're
that's
popular among some
fine.
people, but like I just
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're not generally popular among other people, and also they no one really plays them as much as the others, so I gotta just
We're at a
focus on the
point
stuff people
anyway
play.
where
But
we're at a point anyway where it's like a rubber band. The formats are going to look not that much different from what we're playing at this point.
yeah, and I'll be able to go pretty quickly.
Wait, how is that a rubber band?
Yeah, I don't think it's a rubber band, but it is one of the other reasons.
It's
why
a
I'm
wrong
able to-
analogy, but you understand the point.
Yeah,
Yes.
like,
Yeah,
it's
but
like,
That analogy was like a rubber band. Like,
but
I was thinking
It was
of
like a
something
rubber
else
band
there.
because he pulled it
I
back
used the
and
wrong
slapped it.
analogy.
yeah,
It was a bit of a
forms into
stretch.
normal shape. But I will say, I do think also the nice thing about those unlimited formats is oftentimes if they're not very similar to the actual format itself, then there is like a broken like tier 0 deck that arises. Like CS says in the YouTube comments, they say, can't wait for PGD to be covered. Triple Ring is going to be nasty. And I do think that will be nasty. And so like
Oh,
that is a
no.
deck that gets noticeably better in the unlimited format. Whereas like something like hand control, like I mean, I don't know. Like it doesn't really seem
Two
like it's,
charity.
like two
Two
charity,
charity
sure,
equals
but like
more
that applies
speed.
to like all decks. Like I'm talking about like
yeah.
specifically certain
Okay.
decks. And
Gravekeeper's gonna be really freaking crazy.
yeah, there's gonna be a lot of decks that will be crazy there. I mean, I will feature them in a locals in the future. I really liked the LOB locals last week, and this upcoming week is going to be the SDYK locals, which I will put a poll as to when we're having that. I will say right now, it will be on a weekend, and I am going to put my foot down and say it's going to be in the afternoon EST, because that locals is going to go very long.
What is
That is-
STYK?
No, what do you mean?
It's
It's not like the
basically-
format is known for stall.
Yeah, so the format
Yeah,
SDYK, it's a format that
no.
no one really plays except on my channel and in the Discord server here. But it's basically
And Soul.
Yugi Kaiba with no limited list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Oh shit!
Stall Mill is extremely good, better than it is actually.
So it's just like no fissures, all dark holes, and
Yep, Dark Holes, Raigeki.
Fissure will
like,
exist still.
Insane.
Yeah,
insane
Fissure will still
things.
exist.
It actually does lead to some interesting decks. Like Stall Mill is, I think, the best deck in the format. It may not be tier 0, but it is the best. But you do have like Worm aggro as well, playing like Ultimate Offering with Wicked Worm Beast, because Wicked Worm Beast dodges all the Raigekis and Dark Holes. So,
yeah, Stall Mill's
General
gonna be like
Beatdown
"Oh,
also
shit."
survives from
Honestly,
LOB.
I don't know. I feel like Worm aggro just been really good. I don't know.
Yeah.
I maybe it could be just me, but I feel like at a certain point, maybe Worm aggro could be just better.
it could
It's
be,
like-
but
it gets-
it will take more
Because
testing.
like it gives less time to compare. It has less time to it gives less time for Stall Mill to win.
Part
That's
of
what
the
I
issue,
mean,
though,
yeah.
with testing this stuff is that you can win against Stall Mill, but it generally requires some skill in the format to do that. And no one plays the format enough to get the
that's fair,
skills that they need to well,
Yeah.
not no one. Like Soul's grinded out the format a bit. And there are people who have like played it a bit, but like in general, like I don't blame people for not, playing the format that much, because the games do go very long and they can be a bit degenerate. I think that they have their own charm
Let
to
me
them
put
if you
it this
enjoy
way.
that sort of gameplay.
Mhm.
But yeah, like it's a bit of a tricky thing. I am excited to hold the locals though, because I think that will sort of maybe give us a better idea of what the meta actually looks like. But yeah, it's
You can say it. It's because you want to see people suffer, right?
well,
Like
that
you can
too,
say
yeah.
it. If you...
But
Oh, no.
because that is going to
I
be
only
Answer.
very
play
long.
Sawmill when I want to see people suffer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
so
it
do
can
I.
be fun.
I'll just play
Yeah, which
Yeah,
is
no,
why when I play that format, I'm going to play Ultimate Offering and burn myself to death.
Yeah, I mean, Ultimate Offering you have
and
to
then
play.
then someone maybe will bring the burn deck, you know?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's been something that actually I was thinking about was like maybe burn could potentially be really good against like
Yo,
Stallmill and all.
okay,
Yeah.
hear
Hey,
me
it
out.
is-
Hear me out. Worm burn.
You could do it.
Worm
Yeah.
burn, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, burn
it's
is
already good
something-
in YK
Yeah, and Yugi Kai,
I'm
but
thinking
burn.
tequila.
against Mill.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
worms in the tequila bottles at the bottom.
You can only play that deck if you take a couple of shots of Patron.
I mean, you'll probably have to in order to make it through the games. But that will be a
Yeah.
fun
Yes.
local stream. That will be the next one that we do. I just want to answer some more YouTube comments here. So I didn't mention this earlier.
Fair
Coco
enough.
Vasilando said also, Comfy, Sentry, Imperial are too wild going first. And yeah, those are the big ones. But you know, I honestly think IO is probably one of the most toxic cards in the format and a lot of other DM formats. And if you open it going
Please
first,
In
ban
Yu-Gi-Oh!
it.
history,
Well, it's
Yeah,
a good thing after it
please.
gets banned, it never comes back.
Yeah, for
it
sure.
does come back.
Honestly,
It's
an
an errata.
argument. That's an argument. It's
Never.
not so bad when it immediately comes back.
Well,
when it
didn't
comes
immediately
back,
come
it's
back.
also so degenerate
No,
they
when it
ban
comes
it again.
back, it's not so
Yeah.
bad.
Isn't
but
it like
when-
There was
Isn't it like
context
the only
for
card that
why.
was banned twice?
I think it might be.
Yeah, it was well, not the
Uh,
only
well,
one.
yeah,
Snatch
but
Steal.
the only one that was banned
But
after
it
Snatch
was
getting
Steal,
into Rod, I think.
Cyberjar.
Yeah.
They made it. They made the
Cyberjar.
payment mandatory, but then they were like, after one or two formats, they're like, "Oh, if you go
Wait a
first,
minute.
this card is insane."
Yeah, no,
Oh,
it's
that's
nuts.
actually
But we'll get to
came
that
a couple years
eventually,
later.
hopefully, and that should be pretty fun.
Yeah.
But I also want to
In
say, CX
2030.
asks a question in here as well.
Journey.
It says, "Is Breaker going to be covered this mid-month?" And I think will probably be around end of the month. But if it depends on how quickly I go through Yata. There's still a bunch of decks to cover, like Gear Freed. The
And
light
PGD.
Metamorphosis deck seems good. Beatdown I might cover, although
I
I'm not
cannot
sure if
wait.
that'll be similar like to other things. But yeah, there's a
Go
lot of
Control.
stuff to cover. So it really
Go
depends on how long
Control.
it takes me to go through that. But I'm trying to do at least like a format a month, so that way we can keep these monthly tournaments going at a decent rate, and also just keep progressing through the formats at a decent rate. Because in the past, I feel like I've spent a bit too long in certain formats. And so I feel like people have gotten a bit bored of that. So I want to just keep things going. And hopefully that'll be more interesting to the viewers. And also hopefully, if there are some things I haven't explored, then that'll be covered in locals and other tournaments like that. So
Yeah, like we still go back to
I
old
do-
formats with locals anyways. So.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think
At
that this is
some point, there's going to be a wall, though. At some formats, we're not going to be able to finish in a month.
but we'll cross that bridge when
Yeah,
we get
that's
to it.
fair.
Nah, we'll finish all of them in a month. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We'll finish all of it in a month.
Yeah, but I mean,
Speed
I will
run it.
say
Like, I
one of the
think
nice
so.
things is that unlike DM packs have a lot of cards in them. After a certain point, it does reduce, so those will go probably quicker. Then it does expand again, so there's that, and also the cards all become a bit better as a whole. But so yeah,
A little bit.
I do.
yeah.
I can't wait though for Breaker because then I get to finally bust out DM because they get like their best support card in
Yeah,
there
Paladin.
for that time.
No, they don't.
Paladin.
Yes,
What?
they do.
Paladin
yeah,
is-
Skill Dark Magician
Skill Dark
is
Magician
crazy.
too.
Okay, yeah, Skill Dark Magician
Magic
is pretty
Curtain.
crazy.
That's
Granted.
not. I would
Better.
say that's not the
Great.
best support card for DM. I honestly think
At the time, I'm not saying like ever. But
Ever,
Yeah.
ever printed.
Magician.
It
Yeah,
is
no
insane they
magician
gave it
souls.
1900 attack.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
great.
I'm also looking forward to Breaker. I think Breaker will be a bit on the shorter side.
Yeah,
But we'll see how
there
it
isn't
goes.
as much.
But
Thankfully, there isn't as much as Yata.
Yeah,
Well,
and I do think
I
that
mean-
this locals was a great showcase for the format. I hope that it's inspired people to sort of sign up for the tournament if you're not already. The link to the Discord is in the description, and I think that this sort of shows that like the games are just insane in this format. It's really really fun. CS also said some other things as well. They said the thumbnail from the last video perfectly describes how it feels to play Yata. Yeah, just the nightmare of spacing down the hand control. And Machino TK
Oh,
is
yeah.
another deck that I am planning on potentially covering for Yata, given that
Yoshino
3
TK
limiter
is
is out.
back.
Yeah.
It's back.
Oh,
3
yeah.
limiter.
It's
Definitely
arguably
got a big
this
boost,
is
yeah.
Yeah,
its
so-
real first showing. PSV doesn't count.
Yeah. But so I'm excited to do that. And so yeah, definitely sign up, join the Discord, linked in the description if you're interested. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the tournament this month. I will be playing that instead of just commentating, so it should be good.
I did.
And,
I did want to take 1 minute because my
Mhm.
favorite card in the entire game's history is now legal this format, and it was my profile picture for like 10 years.
oh, which one?
Oh, which
The,
one?
the unstoppable Spirit Reaper.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the
Reaper
real
really
Reaper
is
format.
Reaper.
Fun
Yeah,
Is this the
real
first
Reaper,
card to
real
be
good,
immune to
come
battle
on,
destruction?
everybody.
To be fair,
I
the
think-
actual Reaper format became like Cyberstein
just
format, so
Stein
I
format,
think this
yeah.
could be Reaper. Yeah.
Yeah, I got my start
Yeah.
playing online Yu-Gi-Oh! In these sorts of communities in Reaper format. So I am very familiar with that. But it'll still be fun.
What a
to cover
format
when I
to
get
start
there.
it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, back at the time when I
Rescue
joined.
Cat is also
Yeah, Rescue Cat too. Like that's big.
is insane in Reaper
yeah.
format and no
Yeah.
mirror force.
Funnily enough,
If
When I
you're
first
willing
got
to
into
play
Yu-Gi-Oh!
disgusting,
Chaos
It-
Reaper format.
Wait, there's
isn't
no
just
mirror
Stein.
force? What?
Yeah. No,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
there's a
That's
lot
the
of
thing.
there's a lot of pretty crazy stuff. I will say,
They
you know,
ban mirror force, bring back dark hole.
Jesus
yeah.
It's
It's,
not
these
the
are
same.
not.
I forget.
These are not
I forget
equivalent.
what
These
video
are-
game it is.
But
I forget what video game it is, but I spent like 2 weeks playing a Yu-Gi-Oh video game, playing around Mirror Force, and after 2 weeks, I found out Mirror Force is banned.
yeah, I mean, it's a hard habit to break, even in formats where it's not. It's like even with formats without gores, you play like attack weakest first and then strongest and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
See, my problem is I play Edison and I still don't play around Gores.
well, there are some
It's
cases where you
not
don't have.
real.
Your opponent doesn't have it. you
It's
know?
okay. Gorse is just never real. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't
Craig
have
is
it.
It
better
isn't
than Lord.
real.
Tragodia's never real.
Yeah, that
By
too.
the way, a little bit more on topic. I would like to mention I cannot underestimate the power of that one counter that actually can burn your opponent for
Yeah,
the
barrel
same
behind
amount
the
that they
door.
would burn you.
Yeah.
Because you can the fact that you can activate it on your own card makes Ring crazy.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
can I just talk about that? Like, that's the reason I was able to beat Block, because I just did 6,000 damage.
And that's an important ruling to know. For barrel.
Wait, what did you ring?
Oh, I lava golem.
Oh,
Yeah. And then barrel reflects that
Oh,
back.
man.
And the interesting
Yeah.
thing about barrel too is that it really only works on like ring. There are some other things it works on. But like the continuous
CED.
spells does not work on that.
Just
Um,
deserves.
Wait, what? Seed?
Yeah, it does work on just
Easy,
desserts.
yeah.
It's basically just desserts and ring, and I think that's pretty much it for the ones
I
that you'll
mean,
see.
ceasefire?
Ceasefire as well, yeah. ceasefire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
ceasefire.
lava golem.
Oh wait, no.
Will
Cannon
it work on
Soldier
Lava
doesn't
Golem?
Why wouldn't it?
Well, for the same
I
reason
guess it
doesn't,
should.
like,
It is a
work
card that
on-
does damage, right?
Yeah, it doesn't work on like, for instance, Chain Energy as well. Because it's sort
Yeah,
of
but
like,
that's because it's
More
cost.
about-
oh,
yeah,
Chain
it's
Energy
pain.
cost. That
Whole-
makes sense. Okay, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
also,
Tolan-
this
Tolan
is the
Chainier
second
cost.
time
Yeah,
I got
that makes sense.
obliterated by burn in the locals.
Mm.
Thank you,
Aw.
Clody.
To be fair, you got eliminated by your own burn,
Yeah,
buddy.
you were the one playing it, so you know.
That's
You live
this
by the sword,
time.
you die by the
Yes.
sword, you know.
Exactly.
But yeah.
I-
But
I
anyways,
do feel bad still that
I'm probably
I kinda
gonna
felt
wrap
like-
up the stream here. We'll probably keep the discussion going in the Discord, but
Yeah.
yeah, but this was a blast. So thank you all for joining me here, talking, and thank you all for playing as well, because this was the biggest locals we've had so far, and I think we got some awesome games from this. So congratulations to everyone who
Yeah.
played, and to all of you out there. If you're already subscribed and you enjoyed this sort of content, please do subscribe, leave a like, do all the YouTube stuff. And I hope to see you at the next stream as well. So see you then.
Also, share if you play Gravekeepers.
Yeah, share if you
okay?
play Gravekeepers. This was one of the best Gravekeepers games
I
out
played
there.
it.
Like if
I
you think
played it.
Gravekeepers are bad.
No.